Hey everybody, we're about to go in just one moment. Sorry about the crazy delay. Explain in just 1 second for those of you that do not already understand. Sorry, big yawn. I saw my brother's name and it made me bored. What? Oh, no. Yeah. So many passwords to so many things. It's annoying. Like, wait, what's my password to what? This is called Twitch. Nope, I don't want Twitch. I want Google. There we go. Password to Google. Is that my recovery email? Yes, confirm. Cool. Yay! All right. Let me set this up over here. Let's do the best that we can do with this. Give it. We can have him join the call. Maybe Will can join the call with us. Hey Will, do you want to just join the call? You can just chat with us. You want to join the call, Will? Huh, Will? Huh? Huh? I'm still waiting. Huh? Ah! Oh god, he's the slowest responder ever. He Dox is over here moaning your name and you can't even respond even though you can't hear her. Ah! Ah! Alright. I'm just gonna assume he's not gonna respond. Ha! Ha! Oh, that's funny. Alright. I'm gonna assume he's gonna take a while, so let's go. Hi everybody. How are we doing? I'm not gonna record this one because we didn't want to go without Josh going into such an important thing, especially with the AC being there and so much crazy stuff happening. We didn't want to do that to him. So we're gonna kind of actually do some world building stuff together. I'll explain some stuffs. Oh, he replied instantly. That's funny. That's probably because he's on mobile. If you're on Twitch mobile, that instantly is probably like 45 seconds to a minute and a half later. Like whenever I watch my friends streaming and they say something, like I watch chat and chat will be like F's in chat. And then legit 2 minutes later, I see their character die. And I'm like, oh, well, spoiler alert, you're on Twitch mobile. Anyways, so, what was I saying? Yeah. Oh, let me fix that over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some world building stuff for this game. Some actually meta mechanics as I was discussing last session of what we're going to do. We actually started working on some of it. So the thing that we worked on was actually this right here. It's about the jewels of Eroth and the favors that the party's going to be able to have. I was sharing some of this with my patrons already to get their opinions on stuff before I came forward. I more or less just I took everybody's opinion except ignored Joey because you got to be consistent. And
I love you, Joey.
Somebody has to, you know what I mean?
I do love Joey.
Oh, lie, Joey's pretty awesome. Did you guys did you either of you catch any of the what's it called the spoiler podcast at all or no?
You know the answer to this question. I unfortunately am a man of little time.
Yeah, I know Josh, I believe, listens to it.
I listened to one
Neil
episode
does.
of it that I really liked. I really liked.
I am very jealous, and I will listen to it at some point. I'm sad.
I was gonna say Neil, Jake, and Josh I know do consistently. So that's a third of the cast because Will doesn't count. That's a third of the cast. That's pretty friggin' solid. You know what I mean? That's awesome. And I don't know. I like it. I think they do a good job of being funny. and they recently actually had Joey on there as a guest. And it was funny because like if you guys don't know Joey, which I assume you don't, right? At least not yet. So if you don't know Joey is like me. You see how I'm talking a lot, and you guys are like, will he ever shut up so I can speak? That's Joey. And so it's Steve and Vince Exel's podcast. And they're like, so we have our move over, bitches. This is mine now.
I also just want to say that both Steve and Van Sexel have really sexy voices. They just do.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. I mean, whether or not I thought that prior, I can tell you this, Doxy. I fell asleep listening to them on loop and woke up to them listening to them on loop. And I was like,
and did that explain the dreams that you had?
Well, pants were optional. Actually, I sleep naked, so just so you know.
Oh, we know.
Well, you have the pictures.
You did fall asleep in Doxy's bed, so you know.
Brittany's right upstairs. She's right there.
You were alone. Just splayed out for all to see.
Yeah, well, you know. It's a lot of hair. It's like, you know. Anyways, so let's talk about these rules that we've come up with. Josiah.
You know, Josiah's a bit of a lumberjack. He could help you out with that. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, is he a lumberjack though?
Yeah, no, he legitimately. If you ever seen his where his backyard goes onto, it's literally onto a forest, and he literally goes and chops the trees down for fire.
Oh, that's so cool.
The dude is legitimately he's a fucking lumberjack. I'm not kidding.
I would go chop wood with Josiah. This sounds like fun.
Oh, I have no doubt that it's a great time.
With my sledgehammer axe, I love that thing. It's so amazing. Like if the wood is like I have this particular this wood that was sitting in the yard when I got here, right? That's like old, like very old, but like the ends of it is wet in a way that it makes it so it doesn't split very easy. Once you get through it splits like regular wood. So with most wood, I more or less just pick it up and put it down and it splits the wood. It's fucking sexy because of how heavy it is. But then there's this one particular thing where you just like throw just a little bit of extra like oomph into it. It's fun. The only downside to splitting wood is that you do it by yourself. So Josiah would be my friend.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm volunteering him for it. If he isn't interested, he's still getting volunteered for it.
Josiah, come south. We have warmth here, but not too much. You know?
He is so in love with Canada.
Yeah.
You will never get him.
Oh, I don't want him to move south.
Oh, okay.
He's coming to visit. He'll visit, I'm sure.
He has health care.
Yeah.
He has a government that cares about his well-being. Like,
about 80% of his well-being.
I mean, aside from a couple of pictures and maybe a few off statements, he has government officials that are, well, a little less embarrassed. I was just gonna say a little, and we're gonna move away from this conversation.
Yeah, that's just best not to open up that can of worms.
So, Jewels of Eroth. So the way that the favors are gonna work as a rule of thumb, and these are very much being inspired by the affiliations that exist in the favors that exist in 3.5. They originally existed in, I don't remember which book they were, but I know that they also existed inside Eberron, which we all know is my favorite preprinted world. So they had previously existed. So this one is very much, we're talking, I literally copy and pasted this just to be legit. I literally copy and pasted this off of House Galanda or Galanda, whatever it is, and then altered the words to make sure it fit. So just full disclosure there. I did not full write this. I copy and pasted and made a bunch of adjustments and full wrote bits, right? Anyways, so Jewels of Eroth. When a favor is asked, because you can ask favors of the jewels, Doxy can specifically. When a favor is asked, whether or not it's successful, the base DC increases by 3, base DC being 10. This increase lasts for 2 weeks. If another favor is requested over the course of those 2 weeks, the cooldown is reset and 2 more weeks must be waited. I will. No matter what the base DC is. It resets to 10 after 2 weeks without requesting favors. That's kind of like the base of how it will work. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Make my heart go boom, boom.
My supernova girl.
There we go.
I'm so
Hello,
happy
Will.
to see you.
Hey, what is going on, peeps?
How are you?
It has been too long.
It
Hey,
has
much
been
hey,
too
it's
long.
the monkeys.
I
How's
agree.
how's the toothbrush treating you?
How's the toothbrush treating me? What does that mean?
Don't worry about it.
It's treating me well.
That's good. We have the same toothbrush, and there may have been an exchange that happened. No, by
Doxy.
mistake. I don't think so, but we definitely have.
Joey just showed up and Steve's at work, so they both missed what we said, so it's all good. Okay.
Fine.
The only way I can guarantee that there was an exchange is because I write on my case my name. So it has, and I know we have the same name,
It has Will
but-
on it, huh?
but it's my handwriting. So
William, is that a beer?
it's actually a cider.
Oh, you convinced me.
That's why everyone invites me to their parties, people, because it's that easy. It's that easy.
How have you been?
Pretty good. Had surgery on my ankle. It actually went better than expected, so I should be
Okay.
pretty healed up, like as at the end of this week. But they're gonna like an extra week or so instead of it being like 3 months plus. So I'm happy about that.
Very nice.
Other than that, just dealing with life, you know.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right.
Back. Oh God.
So, William,
Yes.
here is the document for what it is I'm showing on stream. You obviously played in Eberron, though I don't think you really had to deal with group affiliation mechanics too much. And you're kind of you're semi-outside perspective, so you're a little less vested into this than they are. So it's actually nice to have your slightly different perspective. The idea is I'm making the favors mechanic for this world, same as Regicide kind of did when you were over there, but they didn't really use them, and so I just abolished them, you know?
It says I need access to the Google Doc. So.
Oh, I thought I gave you access.
You probably did or didn't or.
All right, I'm gonna give you a different link. Link copied. Try that again. Yeah, I think it's the same exact goddamn.
Once more with feeling.
Once more with feeling.
I need access, so I'm gonna request access again.
Okay, weird. Don't I have your email? No, do I have Ovens? Okay,
I have multiple emails.
there you go. I did the Ovens one.
Okay.
I just sent it to you. That way it makes it easier. All right. So, anyways, the idea is that this is like a favor mechanic, so they can actually turn to this is a Patreon-driven thing. So, the way the Patreon-driven stuff works is when there's a certain number of patrons, it affects the modifier that they get. I have to put a ceiling to it, otherwise it becomes broken as fuck. So, the way that the original favors mechanic worked, where I drew it from in 3.5. Its ceiling at a +5, but that +5 is based off of a character level of 16 or higher. So instead I have, if there's a number of patrons of a certain tier, equaling however many, that gives you the modifier. There's 16 or higher. Technically there's 19 at that tier, which is, I just don't remember what the tier is, but there's 19 people at that tier or above. So that means that they get a +5 bonus. So for Doxy here, hey Foxy. So when Doxy goes to make a request, she's able to roll a 1d20 +5 against this this list here. The DC is based off of what it is that she's trying to request of her of the local house from the Jewels of Eroth. And then there are certain modifiers that can come into place. If she's trying to have a diamond, if she's trying to do something illegal or dangerous, if she's trying to have ruby, if she's done requests recently, blah, blah, blah. So a 17 right here. Let's say Doxy was trying to get a loan, right? So she could have actually taken a loan out of 700 gold pieces with a 10% APR on that loan, right? So that's actually not that bad. Doxy, you want to roll one more time? Oh, there's Josiah. We were talking about him earlier.
Woof.
Ouchies. So, and the cool
Hello. Thank you. Sorry. Pardon
You're good.
me.
Yeah, you're good, man. And the cool thing too is that with these, without clicking the actual luck button, you can actually add a D4. You're actually allowed to use luck dice on this. The DCs, I was kind of going over it and whatnot in my head. And I was like, yeah, this works because the DCs are set in such a way that they get more difficult as they go. So if you're feeling randy and you're trying to use them a little too often, the mechanic's already built in to kind of safeguard against it. So your 17 became a 19, you know, your 2 became a blah, 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 right? So, I think that, did you finish reading it, Will?
Yes.
Do you have any notations or suggestions or anything about the one that's there referring to the jewels?
Honestly, no. I think that it's pretty straightforward. I mean, I guess the only thing. Oh, what?
Sorry, I just noticed the picture that Will Graham sent me and it freaked me out for a second. Sorry.
Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
The only thing I would say is like I know that DC going up by 5 is pretty typical, but like sometimes like a midway point can be good. And I know that you could just go with that like kind of in the moment of it, but it's kind of like as a written rule would be nice, I guess. Like I didn't get a 25, but I got a 23. That's damn better than a 20. You know what I mean?
So my apologies. What are you in reference to?
Like for the DCs for the benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way that I would like it is if there were one between each of these.
Yeah, like,
if you add too many, then it gets convoluted, right?
I agree that adding too many is convoluted, but I think just specifically like the between 20 and 25 one, even if it's, I don't know, I guess it doesn't have to be written. It could be just like DM discretion situation, but it's just like, I did better than a 20. Like a 20 is really good. I did better than a 20. I didn't quite get a 25, but I got a 24 or 23. So like, just like, I feel like that should be like,
I think I get what you're saying. I think as you were saying, Will, to continue with that one, DM discretion, because it's based off what they're asking for.
Right. No, yeah, I agree.
Right.
It's for sure DM discretion. And that's just not obviously written here. So that was my only like.
Well, because something as simple as like free use of a internally flawless jewel from the local house for 1 week, that's a 25. A 20 is a very slightly included jewel, right? Technically, there's a rank that exists between those two.
Right,
So maybe Doxy goes for the 25. She lands on a 23, and I'm like, there's a compromise. You don't get it because you didn't hit the DC, but there's still something that can be had. And sometimes when you ask for something and you don't hit that DC, not only do you not get it, bad things can happen, right? Like,
for sure.
If you're like, I need someone murdered, and you fail,
someone found out about you wanting to get someone murdered. No, I get that for sure. The only reason I even say it is just because I know that there are a lot of players out there that are rules as written. Like you got a 20, you succeeded. That's what you got. You got a 23, you didn't hit the 25, but you got the 20. You know what I mean? So it's like just the rules as written, people. I think that's the only reason I'm saying it.
So going back to what Doxy was saying, Doxy, obviously you were suggesting one between each one of them. I think.
Yeah.
So what's your suggestion?
My favorite save curve is 10, 13, and then 15. 13 and 15 are like different versions of each other, right? Like one a little better than the other, obviously.
Like you succeed with a 13, but a 15 you succeed fully.
Exactly. You succeed and there's a bonus. Right.
Or 13 is you succeed in the shortcomings.
And then and then 18, 20 is the same, and then 23, 25 is the same.
I think that's just lowering the DC. As like, so what you just described there is no. You just get a slightly lower, weaker version of what you had already asked for. But I think it's literally already built into the mechanic with the 2025. Because like if you look at the difference between 20 and 25, you get a jewel either way for a week. It's just how powerful they are. You get to meet people either way. It's just how powerful they are. And you get a bonus to a skill check. It's just by how powerful it is. So like that meet in between, it's kind of already built into the mechanic. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah, so I hear you.
Yeah, it's kind of like it already is kind of like it's all the same thing that you're asking for. It's just how big or whatever it gets to. And then I'm trying to answer somebody's question.
So wait, if I roll a 16, I get the shitty version of the 15 reward.
No.
But if I roll a 19, I get the great version of the 15 reward.
Let me go back to those and I'm going to answer the person's question. So let's see. What are you asking for? How about that?
Like say I roll a 19.
Yep. But you have to ask before you ask before you roll, right?
Okay. I need a personal weapon keeper, like somebody who will look after my weapons for a week.
Sure.
Because I'm going to be using my weapons a lot, and I need to make sure that they're taken care of, and I don't have time to do it.
That's more of something that we could do with Will's group, but still a great example. So now we know what it is that you asked for. You need somebody just to take care of your supplies, so on and so forth. Honestly, that's not a very high DC. You can imagine that being like, even though it says 20 is the free use of a VS Jewel, you can imagine that being so much as a 15 or a 10 for a DC, because you're literally asking for a let's go over to actually what the jewels are called. That could be a pyrite, a manual laborer, and they don't even have to be a high ranking pyrite, and so that could in theory be a DC 10. You got a slightly included or included pyrite member to come and just watch your shit for you. Yeah, cool, no problem. Gotcha. So what I would do in that situation, Doxy, is I would just lower the DC overall. And then to go with the other thing you were saying, and to again touch on what Snaga was saying, and I think I mentioned this in our secret cast chat earlier today, Doxy, is sometimes there might be modifiers that are kind of understood based off what's kind of happening in game. So let's say, for instance, if I want court with the local lord or ruler or whatever of Ascaria, and I'm going to use the jewels to do it. Well, you already have built into the mechanics how hard that is, right? But if you were to go to a place where they really, like, let's say you went to Adir, right? Like, you went to the Kingmaker's Kingdom and you wanted to pull that shit. Well, they don't really
go there.
Well, don't go there, yeah. But they don't have a house for the jewels there, but they know who they are. So the DC would be harder because they don't have that kind of interwoven relationship that like Ascaria, Amalta, and Galdaria have with them. So DC could go up. But then on the flip side of that, let's say what you're asking for is like, no. I'm actually looking to speak to this lord, and I know this lord happens to have a very good relationship with the jewels. Okay, well then that DC just went down, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's kind of like give and take based off the scenario. Is that better?
Spoilers. Don't they have a relationship with the jewels in Kingmaker? Or with a jewel in Kingmaker?
Don't know what you're talking
about. Okay. So one other thing, can I do anything to bolster my chances? Say, flirt beforehand. Try to charm them for a better DC.
This is a meta mechanic that's already built in, assuming that you're more or less walking up to a moissanite or whatever it is and saying, "Hey, yo, I need a favor." So it's not going to work on them, right? Okay. So not for this one. This is a flat outside of what's the game we play? Fantasy Age. Outside of Fantasy Age's rolls, this is a D20 roll.
So it can be used with any system. That's smart.
Exactly. Cool. So that is I hope that helps to answer it. And don't think that this is going to be set in stone, Doxy. If we play it for a while and it doesn't feel like it feels clunky, we can certainly make adjustments, and maybe what we end up doing is moving the 15 down to like a 13 and then adding a 17 in there, or the 15 down to a 14, adding a 17 in there. That way we have kind of like a split extra thing. So something like that can be done. Those adjustments can be made. But as of right now, as I was talking about in one of our chats, with a 1d20 plus 5, plus assuming you use luck die, a 1d4, so potential, you have a minimum of 7 and a maximum of 29 on something with a DC. On average, maxes out at 25 and starts at 10 on average. So clearly, as we know, there's exceptions to that.
Totally.
All right, cool. And that's why I really do want to allow, because like if you want to ask that second favor, that's why I want to allow luck. So you're not sitting there like, I know it's an easy favor, but a DC 15's like, it's going to be kind of rough, you know? Awesome.
I just like that there's also just like potential backlash for it. Like, oh, I want to ask this favor, but am I really going to hit that 15 or 20 that I think it's going to be? And then if I don't, what happens then? I just cause more issues potentially.
It's only backlash because this stuff is meant to be positive only for the party. So it's only backlash if what they're asking for is extreme. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
like, so if again, like using an extreme scenario, Doxy asks for somebody to be assassinated by a
Yeah,
ruby.
I need a ruby.
Yeah, that is an extreme scenario. So there could be backlash for that. But if she's just trying to get invitation to the ball, the most backlash, and that would be situational, I can imagine see from failing to get invitation to the ball, is that when she actually gets into the ball through some other method, she bumps into a diamond or something like that that's not really friendly with her, and they're like, oh, you finally found your way in? How cute. You know what I mean? Like, something like that. And then honestly, Doxy's probably just gonna roll it straight 18s and crush that person in a conversation, and she's gonna go in the bathroom and, like, you know, cut herself a few times, and then the campaign gets really depressing. And yeah, that's the, oh God. We're listening to Dark Souls music, man. What do you expect me to think? Every time I listen,
Powder her nose.
So with the luck dice included, because it maxes out at 29, to clear a 25, you have a 12% chance. It's 11.6% chance when you encounter all die to succeed on that roll. That's not bad.
That's a really
I think
good chance.
that's pretty good. If you're including luck die. If you're not including luck die, it's obviously it's less than that.
Yeah, it's probably closer to 7%, right?
Yeah, but if you're asking for a 25
actually-
favor, you're using a luck die, I feel like.
Hold on though, is the +5 just a flat, or is
It's a flat
Oh,
+5.
that's a flat, so that actually changes it. So it's actually
It is actually it's based off. My apologies. It's based off of Patreon, and I can say that
Gotcha.
fortunately it is not wavered, so it should
Right.
sit at that +5.
Okay. So if it's assumedly staying at that +5, then it's even better. It ends up being like a 14 or 15%. I haven't done the actual math on it, but it's around there.
That's cool.
So
really good.
that's quite good. So like, but that's again including the luck die. If you don't include the luck die, which we may not always have as a resource, it does go lower. It ends up being around 7. Actually, no, that is 5% flat, because in order to hit it with a 5, you have to roll the nat 20. So that is just a 5%. So realistically, like it's not terrible.
No, and I honestly think that
Hey,
I
I hit the 25.
There you go.
I was gonna say, hopefully you guys aren't going against 25s too often. You're not asking those favors too often. I very much imagine 15 is gonna be your target number most of the time. And if you assume 15 is your target number without luck die, just flat, it's a 50-50 chance. It's actually technically a 55% chance.
Yeah.
Just flat. So I mean, because I imagine most of the time that's Doxy's just gonna be like, we need to meet a dude, and I honestly don't need to walk around town. I'm just gonna ask the local jewels, hey yo, I want to meet that dude. And they're like, all right, here's that dude. And then you're introduced. And the good thing is that you're introduced in a favorable way. Not in just like a flat, you're introduced in a favorable way.
Here's a question for you, because you made the comparison to Eberron.
Yeah.
Now, asking for a favor and getting the favor based on a DC is, yeah, great, sure. But now, say you ask quite a few favors, even if you hit the DC every time, are they now saying, hey, we've done a lot for you, we need something in return? Because I know like a lot of the houses in Eberron would be
it specifically says if you ask a favor of a moist knight, or if you ask a favor of something that is dangerous or illegal, or if you ask a favor of something that's DC 20 or higher, is the only time that you owe a favor back. I'm not, even if you go to the same person over and over and over and over and over again with DC 15s, that's fine. But if you ask and when I say ask a favor of Moist Knight, to be clear, Doxy, just so you know, if you walk up to an Moist Knight and say, hey, I need a pyrite to do a thing, that doesn't count. If you walk up to a Moist Knight and say, I need you to do a thing, okay, that's just like, oh, you want me to do something for you? Well, it's time you return that favor. So, and I really only did that for Moist Knights, because they're the only ones, because you could easily walk up to the dime and be like, hey girl, what up? Here's that, can you do this little, or however, you choose to speak. So, hey girl.
Definitely not like that.
Well, you never know. You could be hanging around with somebody cool. Hold on one second.
Oh god.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. And hey girl, how you doing? What up? Let's chill. No?
No.
No.
No, but what? But
Also,
I'll hail the
Fix your
queen.
green screen. I don't like seeing that little corner of your room.
Oh, hold on. I'll fix it.
It's always nice to see Rena, but she's
What?
not here. So.
I'll hail the queen. No?
I'll
Hey,
hail the
girl.
queen. Eh.
All right. So she wasn't there for a session, so I threw that image as a background for her.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Anyways, it's funny. I was on a Zoom call with my mom earlier today, just so that she can talk to Rory, and I threw that up there, and she was like, "Who's that girl on your computer?" And I'm like,
Oh.
I play a game with her. It's a like, yeah, but you keep a picture of a random girl on your computer. I'm like, Mom, the pictures of girls I have on my computer aren't the concern. Okay, that's not what you should be worried about. She goes, I don't know about that. I was like, all right, Mom. I was hoping you weren't gonna make me do it, but things get really weird. Things get like really weird. I mean, like if you want to know what my life entails.
Oh my god.
To be fair, that is one of the best
I'll be
images
right
to
back,
ever
one
have
second.
been crafted. So, I mean,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
think that's an issue.
I kind of like DJ Daelric. Have you guys seen that one?
Oh yeah, DJ Daelric is
Oh,
also very good.
I actually don't have that one.
You don't have it? Oh,
Yeah.
Josh made that one pretty quick. That was good. I'll have to
Do
dig
you
up
have
some
it?
more
Okay, I
pictures.
don't know if you have it or not. I was waiting for you to like pop it up.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
Oh, it's another one I did for
What?
her.
What is this? What is? I've never seen this one. Why?
Okay, hold on. I was like, Mom, you want to see a beautiful piece of art? Watch this. Hold on. Hold on.
Is that from Cats?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Didn't watch Cats. I heard lots of bad things. I assume they're all true.
Yeah. I've heard that it is, if you're going to watch the movie Cats, you should do it on numerous amounts of drugs.
Yeah.
That's probably not a bad recommendation.
That's what I've heard. I've heard that it is at least enjoyable when you are.
You know,
high.
I feel like, well, people who even go to see the play, which I hear is great. I've never seen it myself.
A lot of people go
Probably
on
would be
psychedelics.
better on like copious amounts of drugs. To be
Lots of
fully
people
honest.
go on psychedelics. Yeah.
I
What?
might,
What
I
are
might
you
have taken a
having?
couple of
Cats.
edibles
Uh-huh.
before seeing the SpongeBob musical. Just saying,
You know what? Fair enough. Yeah,
it
that's
was
reasonable.
necessary.
Actually, that applies. There we go. All right. Rainbows in the sunshine. Sorry, rainbows in the rain. All right.
Imagination.
Ooh, if we're doing.
That's right. We want
I
a
have
halos.
a fun rain scene.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna get my halo on for you though. There we go.
Okay.
Why is this a thing?
Because this is the good campaign. We have the good tag on. It's a good campaign.
You guys are good.
Eh.
Hold
I
on.
am.
Relative to the other campaigns,
Yes.
yeah, you're right. You
Yes.
guys can't be bad.
Relative to the other campaigns, we are very good.
Yeah,
In
that's just because
general.
they're so bad.
In general, we're lawful.
If you didn't know, Nankaro is a lawful good god.
I'm just glad that this counts as my appearance on Thronekeeper, so
There you
that's
go.
always good.
Does
There
it
you go.
though?
I think it does.
I think Doxy wants an opportunity to role play with you.
Well, I mean, she wanted that opportunity in person too.
She took that opportunity and ran with it, all the way to expose herself and be thrusted into.
Whoa.
For background chat, he went with me to get my nipple pierced.
Be thrusted into is a large statement.
Yeah, you
It
should have
is.
said penetrated.
I listen. I was
Penetrated
just,
was
I was
there.
just going
It was
and
right
not
there.
stopping. I got ahead of myself. I
Oh.
finished too soon. That's the problem.
That's
So-
true. Josh is an environmental terrorist. You're not
Also, I
wrong.
asked if he wanted to go with me, and he said yes. So it wasn't like I was like, I need you to come with me to get my
Yeah.
nipple pierced.
No,
Actually,
no, no.
I
It was-
witnessed the request. It was literally, I want to get my nipple pierced. Do you want to go with me? And he was like, all right.
that was literally it.
And like
pretty
we're
good.
talking, it wasn't even like a planned out thing. It was like I saw a place down the street. Do you want to go check it out? Yeah, I think I saw that place too. That one over there. No, this one. Oh yeah, I saw that one. Yeah, I know the way to get there. And he walked off, and I was like, huh? It was legit. 1 minute. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do I have the scene correct?
It was
That
like
was
less
fairly,
than a minute.
fairly
Yeah, it was-
correct assessment.
Yeah. I was like, all right, bye. I'm gonna eat a burrito.
Josh
So-
also raises a good point. He's an accidental environmental terrorist.
Sure. Sure. Listen, the military give you orders. You follow those orders. You didn't know what the button did. You just pressed it. Commander said, turn the key and press the button. You just followed orders.
Yeah,
So-
I don't know, man. A curse is a little different in this campaign. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Listen. It's your job to fly the plane and press the button. That's your job. It's not your job to make decisions. It's not your job to look back. Hold on, because it's going to be a little turbulent.
My job to stab people with a spear. I still question it sometimes.
Yeah,
Not all
but
the time.
it's not as bad as like, you know, selling thousands of souls to an evil person or anything like
No.
a demon. So that's
I agree.
got that going
Man,
for
that's
you.
the thing that everybody always jumps to about the Aurorum campaigns.
I mean, to be fair, what game have you ever been a part of where one of the PCs has said, here are 10,000-ish souls to a devil. Take them. Thank you.
Only ever in an evil campaign. And it
look
ended,
at that.
it ended immediately after that. So,
It's a good thing Kingmaker
That was-
isn't
that was in
evil,
the
it's
beginning?
just pragmatic.
relatively early.
Oh. All right, so we discussed the Jewels of Eroth option here, the one that's currently on stream at the moment. We discussed it. I think so long as I walk into it with Doxy's suggestion, wherein the way I would most likely approach Doxy's suggestion, I want to leave 25 as a 25 because of what it is that it's doing there. I want to leave 10 as a 10. It should be very easy to do. I will bear in mind the idea that maybe 15 and 20 needs to be split into 3 different things with some more stuff added in to give you some more options, in which case it most likely be like 13, 17, 20. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So-
that makes sense to me.
Yep, so I'll probably do that if things feel a little wonky, but we need to experience it a little bit first before I make that decision. So keeping that in mind and understanding that these mechanics are exactly the same for all PCs, just with different organizations that we're part of, I'm going to highlight Kappa, make a new sheet, and pasta.
Every game is evil, fact.
And then from here,
Jello soul.
you're called the so should we just call it for Will's character? Should we just say the Maltese military?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't think it would just be the Venator, realistically. So yeah.
Because Venator, I imagine
It's
Venator.
such a niche. like,
Yeah,
thing in
exactly.
the military.
And I
They're
imagine
small.
Venator to a degree are like bros to each other. Like, bro, I got you. You know,
Yeah,
so I imagine like
100%.
asking a Venator for a favor is gonna be like the higher tier. But if you're just trying to get some soldiers, some basic like soldiers or whatever, that's gonna be.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's reasonable. And I mean, like, I think you're right though. I think like Venators between each other, realistically, like there aren't that many
No.
Venators, right? Like I don't know. When we talked about it originally, it was basically like these are elite forces. Like they are the type that like they're very rare. I don't know how many there are in the Maltese military, but I would imagine how large is the military overall, like in terms of
I
numbers?
don't have
Obviously,
I honestly don't have exact numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I can say the army is of course going to be its biggest area, and there it's actually decent size. Like if you look at a nation its size and relative to the world, it's about as big as it's actually slightly bigger than you'd expect, I should say, because don't forget they have mandatory 2-year service.
Yeah.
And they also have a lot of national pride for those that serve inside the military too.
So basically,
So-
like I imagine that the number of Venators is probably like 2% at most of the full military. Like
Yeah, I would actually
would be
even say
small.
I would even say 1%. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's reasonable assessment. So like I think generally speaking, like
Because
you
even
encounter
the
another.
Gish is maybe 5%.
That's
maybe.
yeah, and
yeah.
that's kind of what I figured. Like I thought the Gish would maybe be between 5 and 10. So having them at 5 makes sense to me. I think there's probably a bit of a rivalry between the Venator and the Gish. I actually would suggest it's probably harder to get a favor from a Gish as a Venator than it would be to get.
You know what's funny is I'm not even
joking.
joking. I was literally thinking the same. I was thinking
Yeah.
that Gish might be one of those ones where it's almost like because you're literally trained to kill their kind.
Yep.
Not them, but,
not
you
them,
know.
but people who are casters, 100%. And who do we train against? Like, yeah, you train against.
You're
Gish.
training against a mage. A mage is like, I'm busy studying.
Yeah.
Pardon me, sir, but you smell like you've been working out all day, and honestly, I don't like onions. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, you train against Gish, and I think there's probably a rivalry. I think it's friendly. I think it's overall a friendly rivalry, but like there's an underlying it would be a lot harder, I think, to get a favor from a Gish than it would be to get a favor from a Venator as a Venator. Now, obviously, I think if those were reversed, if you were playing a Gish comparatively, right? But I don't know. Like, I think
I honestly think that what I would want to do is just keep it kind of simplistic. So Venator is gonna be the hardest thing. A Gish is gonna be the second hardest, and then pretty much including wizards, any rank beneath that would be lower. So imagine a Venator, because if their rareness would be 25s, Gish would be 20s, wizards would be 15s, and other military would be 10s. Not just, there are others too, like there's technically, they have their intelligence agency and whatnot. It's very small. That would also be a higher rank and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I feel like the situation though for Oscar, dealing with a Venator is going to be easier generally speaking, and situationally I like that. The thing I worry about is that like the situational circumstances are going to make it easier for me to hit a 25 than it will for other people.
Okay.
Right? Because I'm going to go into those conversations and it's like, well, you're a Venator, you're having this conversation with another Venator, there's a certain amount of respect there. That situational, advantage matters to some extent.
Yeah.
Right? So I that's the only reason why I say like it might actually make more sense for when you're like literally just to have it be a swap, where if you're a Venator, a Gish is a 25. If you're a Gish, a Venator is a 25.
And that's an easy switch for just like campaign to campaign.
That's kind of what I think, right? And like, other than that, I think, I think you're pretty much spot on in terms of asking for a favor from those types of groups, because like, I worry that my 25 would be easier than other people's just because of the situational advantage of going in and speaking to a Venator. Just because like the reaction of seeing another Venator is just like, brother, we haven't seen each other in ages.
Because exactly, because it's very spaced out. It's funny too, because in this scenario, if you're using the US with the examples people are giving inside chat, if you have like say Venators being like these like a high end, Gish being like these high ends Marines, and Venators being these high end like Navy SEALs. Do you think just the basic army, the ones that are only a DC 10 is the Air Force because nobody likes them? You know what I mean? Is that like yeah.
Well, that's just because the Air Force is just a part of the Navy, if we're being completely accurate.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the Air Force is just part of the Navy or the Marines?
The Air Force is part of the Navy. The Air Force started as the Navy, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
Josh, correct me if I'm wrong.
Marines started as the Navy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the Air Force
The Marines were part of the Navy until I think 1776 or 1779. I think it was 1779 is when they and they used to actually fly the flag. Don't tread on me was their flag for a little while. Pretty sure.
I don't know anything about the American military complex, but I do know a fair bit about the Canadian one, which, yes, the Air Force would be the ones that are lower and easy to...
Yeah, it's a Air Force, right?
Yeah,
I mean, listen, Josh had a pretty decent rank in the Air Force. Guy can't even make his internet work, and he worked inside, like, decryption shit. Just saying. Somebody that can't figure out Wi-Fi, and he was working for intelligence. Maybe there's not so much to really worry about.
Yeah, so Josh's point there about for real world reference, top 3 ranks in the military for American military make up only 5 to 10% of the entire force. So that makes a lot of sense.
It's like it's almost spot on with the 1%, 5%, and then whatever's next.
Yeah. And like there will be officers at every level that would kind of fill out the rest of that 4% there. So I think that makes sense. There you go. Air Force was Army Corps first until 19...
Army Corps, okay. Air Force was Army. I knew that there was we really only had like Army and Navy. Like that's the
but
two
again, like if the nation earned its freedom or declared its freedom in 1776, we actually won our freedom in like 1781 or 82 ish, and we didn't actually have our constitution until like 90 something. You know what I mean? We had our first president in like 1792, I think, is when we had our first president, even though we had like a dozen presidents before that. The Marine Corps, I'm pretty sure still existed before George Washington became president. I could be wrong with my years, but I'm pretty sure we still had the Navy before we had our current constitution. You know what I mean? The Marine Corps before we had our current constitution. I'm pretty sure. I could be mistaken with dates, but again, I did almost join the Marines, so I read a bunch about it back then, so I'm very much trying to pull off of fucking old
Air Force
memories.
was part of the Army until 1949. That's That makes perfect sense to me.
I mean, somebody can Google it. I'm too lazy. So Doxy gave that look at the screen like, you think I'm gonna Google some marine shit?
Not interested.
Yeah, not interested. See, I'm barely interested in what kind of powers he can get from the army. So back to that, actually.
Yeah.
So drawing on the Eberron example, because the favored is something that I saw specifically in Eberron first versus the affiliation thing, which is something from the other books. And this is why I'm not actually done with it yet, because I like the idea of affiliation being a thing. Excuse me. Excuse me. The only problem with the affiliation rank that I was talking about, sorry, I'm tangenting. The only problem with the affiliation rank is that we literally walked into this campaign with Doxy saying, Scott, I want to make up this thing called the jewels. And as I said before, she made up like 85% of it, full cloth, 100% by herself. And then I just wrote it up, and then we tweaked it a little bit, and then it became created. So Jewels of Eroth are Doxy's creation, right? But I want to be
permanent mark in your world.
You do. It's a beauty mark, actually. So
You quit it.
That was smooth. I'm not gonna lie, that one was smooth.
the,
It's rare I'll say that about anything you ever say, Scott. So take that and run with it.
Yep. And Brittany would agree with you. So
Yep.
but she wanted to be top tier, to be flawless, right? Which is cool. The problem is when you're working with the affiliations that exist inside of the 3.5 mechanic, your rank is actually based off your affiliation score. So you have to actually earn those top ranks. And just like we have him as a Master Venator, certainly not top rank, but definitely like a good rank to walk in at, and kind of appropriate for this campaign. And Josh was a nobody. So, I mean, it's one of those things where I almost don't want to apply the affiliation mechanics because Doxy walks in number 1 without earning it. But on the flip side, she walks in at number 1 and can slip. He walks in the middle and can go up or down, and Josh walks in at the bottom and kind of has freedom to grow. So I also do like the idea of applying that mechanic because it's almost like you could see these 3 different factions that they kind of play, right?
Yeah, there are different threads that can play in there. I actually do like that.
Right, so that's why I was like, I don't know, do I want to have people walking in so powerful sans Josh? But if I do, look what I can do. You know what I mean? If I have Doxy put in a scenario where she's kind of like pinned between a rock and a hard place, and she has to decide between her affiliation to the house and this other thing going on, to me as a DM, that moral quandary or that loyalty quandary is a really fun thing to apply. So. Of course, Doxy's just gonna roll a fucking natural 18, add a couple extra modifiers, sleep with both people, and they walk away getting married, saying, "Glad I christened it." And
Oh, god damn it.
you know what's gonna happen because she christened it.
Yeah, I get it. I got the joke.
Yeah, you know, some people are a little thick. Like William. Hey, boy. Oh, no, not that thick. No, not thicket. Okay. Oh, come on.
That was sick, right?
Oh, God. Oh.
Listen, the ladies like it. So
No, the women like it.
ladies, women. I didn't say girl.
Like the women over 30.
Oh, don't talk about my bachelor party again, okay?
I said over 30, not over 50. Okay. Okay, because she was in there for a while and like.
Scott literally encouraged someone to sexually assault me.
That was awesome.
That's what happened.
That's great.
That's what happened.
She bought us drinks. You
Oh,
owed
okay.
her.
I
You
can
owed
sell
her.
my body for
Totally.
drinks. Yeah, that's what's happening. That was appropriate.
She walked over. She bought a bunch of drinks and she's like, "I'm gonna grab your titties," and you were like, "I don't like the idea." She's like, "Ah!" And then she bought you another drink. It's all good,
I
man.
am very uncomfortable with the energy we've created in the studio today. That's what I am reading off of Will's face right now.
It was,
No, he was super uncomfortable, and
Yeah.
it was all guys, right? Because the bachelor party, we're laughing our asses off. We're so.
Yeah.
I was uncomfortable, but I didn't feel unsafe. I will say that.
Yeah.
Well, that's good at least. Glad to hear that last bit.
I will, yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it was we literally your bachelor party filled up the entire bar, plus people standing. So I don't know how you could feel uncomfortable by, I think, 3 women in their 50s when there was, 12 men between their 20s and 50s. So, I mean...
I'm just uncomfortable all the time. What you need to know about me. That's my secret, Scott. I'm always uncomfortable.
Fair enough. The one edge part was when we realized that the reason why she was like buying us a bunch of drinks or whatever was because I think she was the owner of the bar.
No, her husband was best friends with the owner.
That's right. So that's where it was one of those things where like if something sketchy was going to happen, totally could have been like wink at the bartender, thing in the drink, and then ha 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 ha. Yeah, that's where it could have been sketched out because again, it was one of those like she wasn't actually paying for the drinks, which we realized. We're like, oh,
yeah,
okay. Anyways, moving on.
I just don't go to bars.
So drawing from the House Beneath one, same as we draw it from the House Galanda one for Doxy. The way the House Beneath one works, and you'll actually kind of appreciate this, is literally DC 10. Granted, Eberron is a very high magic world as opposed to Aurorum, but Amalta is a world where Amalta is a country, and you're of a position or whatever where like it's a good thing to be able to get access to this kind of stuff. One more point. I'm sorry. This feat isn't something that just anybody can have. I think that the feat in Eberron literally requires you to have a dragon mark and be a member of a dragon mark house. So you're already a top tier important person. So that's why these kind of rules exist. So DC 10, ignoring the stuff that I just deleted off the other one. Loan a +1 weapon for 1 week. Free use of 1d4 blade marks. These are like Black Blade marks. These are like first level NPC class warriors for 1 day, or a loan of money, same as Doxy's. Except your rate is much higher than Doxy's. Hers is per year, yours is per month. Makes sense? Your country's poor.
Yep.
DC 15, use of gray blades from the blade marks for a week. That's more powerful ones and for longer. Extra training at a specific academy, or a loan of a +1 weapon for a month. And then it kind of like tiers up from there, as you can imagine. Higher rank or higher level people of whatever branch of the military, or maybe public charter or bordering to a place or whatever it is, like transit, room and board, or more powerful weapons, with DC 25 being borrowing a +3, free use of a +3 weapon for a month. Secret border crossing, like things like that. Like those are big, right?
Yeah.
So your thoughts based off of just the simple thing I threw at you. And if you need a moment, I have something else I could talk about.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just processing because I'm thinking like, yeah, I mean, all of that is like very good. is kind of the short of it there. Now, obviously, like in terms of flexibility, like kind of similar to what matters. And they're like, if you just have well, I need this, right? And you're gonna kind of at your discretion kind of say, yeah, this would meet this rank, right? Like this would meet this DC and go from there. So in terms of that flexibility within this, because we are very much doing more of a political campaign than a combat campaign, just by the nature of what we're doing.
Correct.
So there's going to be less times where I'm needing to go and be like, all right, I need a +3 weapon comparatively.
And in theory,
to
Josh,
border crossing.
In theory, Josh is going to be able to make those items as time goes on.
Yeah, and so like I'm kind of like I almost kind of don't necessarily want to go too far down the enchantments route for that, as useful as that is, just because I think that could potentially take away from the story for Laszlo, since he's growing in that respect. And if I'm just borrowing a weapon every month from it kind of I don't know, I feel like it kind of takes away from that. It kind of takes away from the specialness of what Laszlo is doing there. So that's the only bit that worries me. But in terms of like additional things, I love the idea of doing like a secret border crossing, like that kind of being a really top tier thing of just being like, yeah, no, we have people who can help get you across places, because we've obviously had to do border crossings before, but to actually do a proper secret border crossing is very different by comparison, right?
Yeah. Especially if you're
things-
going to places like Galdaria and you want to speak to the people there without, or actually going through into Paradel without having to be like, look, there's guards on a bridge. You know?
Yeah, precisely. Where like, I think because we're doing more of a political campaign as well, this kind of opens up an opportunity to really see the Maltese military as more of a, low budget resourceful group rather than one that is just chock full of magical weapons that they can loan out.
I agree with you. Again,
Yeah.
especially with the magical item thing being supplemented by Josh.
Yeah. Precisely.
Mhm.
So I don't know, like I kind of things like smuggling you across the border, or like helping you get to this is the thing though, like what does that look like, and how does that work from a, because it almost becomes more guerrilla warfare style military at that point.
So this one suggests secret border crossing for up to 4 characters at a DC 25. That's because in Eberron, the borders are all fairly well guarded and secured amongst the different nations because of the fucking 102-year-long war that just ended.
Yep.
So it's different than here. Here, you can imagine the DC is actually very much set based off of which border they're crossing. Right, like Galdaria would be pretty friggin' easy. Actually, I should pull up the map.
Yeah.
Galdaria would be pretty friggin' easy. Where's my DM one? There it is. Let's go over to the map. Bam. Oh, no, I have to bring this over to the map.
Yeah.
So just looking at the different maps, so sorry to interrupt you for a second. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 borders. Galdaria should be like just because it's secret. You can imagine Galdaria is a DC 15, Ascaria is a DC 20, Yovance is a DC 20 just because Paradel has such a presence there, and Paradel is a DC 25. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's just because of that's making up numbers.
Yeah, totally. And I think that makes a lot of sense. Like I'm trying to think like what other, more politically driven military actions can be.
Oh, well, aside from
here.
borrowing soldiers or being
Like
able to do
borrowing
something
soldiers makes a lot of sense,
Yeah.
right? Because that's just like, hey, we have a thing we need to do. Can I borrow some people?
Exactly.
Or can I take command of some people for a time and, lead them on a mission? Basically, like we have a mission, I need people. But,
Other things you can actually call for is literally things that are direct orders, not even necessarily borrowing people. It's also
right.
having people ordered to handle a thing, right? So borrowing people is like, I need 5 people to come with me for this thing. But you can literally have orders drafted up to tell a regiment to go somewhere, have a battalion to go somewhere, depending on how big the group is, what it is that they're doing, so on and so forth. You could have something like that absolutely handled. You know what I mean?
Right.
You could have something like that borrowing of people could literally be, I need to borrow a wizard or 2 to get us invisibly into and out of a location without being noticed. You know what I mean?
True.
So something like
True.
that can be done.
Okay. Interesting. So it's essentially just the flexibility of saying, depending on the
And sorry,
difficulty of
like
what we're
Lightning
trying
just
to
said,
do.
spy information too, because as I said, they do technically have
do
a
have
an
that.
intelligence agency.
Yeah. That's,
So-
that's very fair.
So grabbing info that the Maltese military has, rather than say with Doxy, which is not a Maltese military at all, it's her houses.
Right.
So this is 2 different avenues of information.
That's true.
And whereas Doxy's, by the way, sorry, Doxy's introduces you to contacts or records or whatever that they have of information, giving you a plus to a roll. This one's not really giving you a plus to a roll. It's asking people if they have the information.
Right.
So flat out, do you have this info, yes or no? And sometimes you can actually roll a result and unfortunately it's still a failure, even though you made the result because it doesn't exist. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yep.
but that's fairly rare.
That makes sense.
Joey's suggesting recruitment training. I think it's a little bit less so of recruitment training and a little bit more of like maybe if you needed to come across somebody that you wanted, like I need this person to go to this location to be trained this way, asking in a favor to have them done a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Transfers, so on and so forth, things like that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think like recruitment, Malta's doing okay on recruitment. It has a large military for the size of the population because of the mandatory service.
Yep.
But in terms of like recruitment of other nations, I feel like that's outside of the scope of what the military can do in most cases. Like that's why they're literally sending us around to do stuff.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Because that's just that is outside of the scope of the military.
That they don't really have a super secret special ops like what you guys are. You guys are outside their scope of what they do. I mean, a Venator is a special ops for killing wizards. Gish are special ops for the sake of being able to use magic actively in melee and ranged combat. And then most of their wizards just maintain the wall. But they don't really have these super secret Navy SEAL team that goes around and does stuff like you guys do. That's, like you just said, why you were hired to do that.
Yeah. Yep. And I think, like, this kind of touches on Oscar's original goals, is like before he even got into campaign, like session 0, walking in, he eventually wanted to run his own essentially squad of soldiers, and prefer, like, he was thinking Venators, and he was thinking just doing that. But this has kind of become, okay, well, this is something different that we're doing, but even that is something that now is its own thing, and he's not really sure what to do with that from a military standpoint, because it's almost not military anymore, but he's still very much part of that. So I think keeping those differences between what we're doing and what the military can provide, I think, is really important, just from a story standpoint for him. So
let's go to Doxy on this one then. Hey Foxy, we're obviously talking about 1,000,010 ideas of what we can do with his character, so on and so forth. One of the things we're talking about is it not just being a goddamn give me a weapon or lend me some soldiers. You obviously we've discussed what your character is capable of drawing in. What are some gaps that your meta mechanic offers that you think are left open that can be feasibly filled by his meta mechanic, not to be confused with Laszlo's, right? What are some gaps you think we could work with?
Quality of life stuff. Like money, food, lodging. I mean, like, all those things are available through, like, having a place to stay with the jewels, I assume. But, like, having, like, here is money, you can have this money, would be a really, really nice option, as long as it was a hard DC to pass.
I would say, so one of the things I was talking about with my affiliation score thing, Docs, is I wanted it to be you guys actually have a degree of an income that you would be able to have pull in. So because of his affiliation score with his thing, he actually would have like a bit of as a soldier, a monthly allotment that comes in, because you guys aren't standard adventurers that just go around and kill a bunch of goblins, and then all of a sudden you have a bunch of money, as long as you do or do not eat their nipples.
I still hate that every time.
Yeah, I know.
Just makes the skin squirm.
Yeah. Wasn't
Diener.
Yeah, it was Dean, so we can blame him. Either way, so that's like, I want to add that as a part of the affiliation thing that we do, but he can still borrow money. However, the other stuff that you were mentioning, Doxy, we need field supplies. So not like, oh, I need to go for a luxurious meal, which you could ask for a favor.
Bandages.
Yeah, rations, medical supplies, switching out of weapons like we had already done beforehand. There's something like what you've already done is like a non-even roll. Just like if Doxy's like, I need a room to go freshen up, they're not gonna roll for that. Like, you just do it. So like those kinds of things. Yeah, okay, cool. Supplies. Will, maybe obviously we're not handing out like supplies of magic wands or +3 swords, but maybe something like a couple of potions, or even salves that are alchemically created so that they heal a bit more than just a simple whatever would do. Something like that could totally be an option. So military supplies.
Yeah, so like military supply, I think
Camo.
makes sense. I think transportation, I think is not a bad one either. Like in terms of like, it was mentioned in chat. I think who said it? I don't know who said it. I wasn't reading, or I did read and then it's gone. But like transportation was one of those things that I think makes sense. Transportation and infiltration kind of go hand in hand a lot of the time in terms of how they operate. So having those things kind of, go, I think that makes sense, and supplies I think makes sense. So I mean, like, even just those 3 things I think are really, really valuable.
Yeah, see, like Snaga said there, maps and geographical information, like Josh said there, fast travel, safety in numbers, sort of a thing. So it's like, hey, when you get to A and B, it's maybe not the quickest way, but it's definitely going to be safer going with the army on this one. But also, when you're talking about border crossing secretly, right? Chris Ellen stands out because, you know, she hot, but also she has a bit of a reputation depending on where it is you're going. Maybe part of that secret border crossing DC-20 to get into Ascaria is Doxy's dressed up in fatigues. Don't tell me you weren't already imagining it. Dressed up in fatigues and part of the soldiers being brought overboard. If there's a caravan of soldiers being brought from A to B because of diplomatic blah 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 blah, you guys are dressed up as soldiers and brought over, and then all of a sudden you kind of like slip away and do you need to, like nobody knows that you did that. So I really think that those are going to be, there's a lot of shit we can do as long as we're not just thinking about just equipment or just men at arms. If you think about the other things that the military has access to. Cool. Mm-hmm. Before we actually start writing this shit down and talking about Josh behind his back again. Chat and PCs. There's a lot of ways to spend daddies. This is a Patreon driven thing. So the meta mechanic is already added by Patreon. Should there be an allotment, like an option, for daddies to be spent to maybe either reduce the DC for, no, Will is saying hard no on this one. This is why I wanted somebody with an outside perspective, or to reset the cooldown.
No. The cooldown exists for a reason. So resetting the cooldown can be very troublesome if it's constant, because as we know, the supporters of your channel can be very constant. On top of that, making it more difficult when a PC is really like, this is like we need this to happen. This is a good plan. I'm going to roll for it. I'm going to use my luck dice. And then a viewer goes, oh, actually, you're getting a -2 to that roll or something like that. And it makes you fail, especially if you're requesting for a 20 or a 25 when a failure now results in backlash. It's too much.
I would say the flip side of that one, where it's the benefit as opposed to the penalty aspect of it, because I actually straight out said, and you're not in the Throne Keeper chat, Will, I think you're just in the other two, which is funny. In the Throne Keeper chat, I actually straight out said that I'm not going to be using daddy's dice or anything like that to impact these DCs. That will not happen. So
I thought you literally just said like a hurting. Like
to lower the DC.
Oh, I thought, okay, I heard that wrong then. Sorry. I thought, all right. I'm less hard no, but I'm still favoring no, because I feel like, especially when you're requesting something that's difficult, it's meant to be difficult for a reason. I feel like
12% is still really high.
Yeah, like I feel like it almost it cheapens it a little bit if you think you're gonna succeed, and then you wait that extra 10 seconds, maybe chat will help me out. I feel like it for something that's that impactful, if unless you're talking about playing a trump card or a fortune's favor where it's something that big, it's not, I don't think it's worth it. I would say it has to be as big as one of those for it to be like, okay, I understand.
Cool. So no reset. So you're saying no affecting the DC. What about a reset of the cooldown? Because I'm
gonna remind you of about 30 seconds ago. Aklo. But I'll one up you and add Steve. I feel like it can just be, it can be cloggy. I'm not against it, but I feel like that one.
Steve is cruel, almost as cruel as Anna.
Yeah, well, maybe as like maybe if you could only buy it once per X amount of times, or something.
You can't apply that mechanic.
Well, I mean, you could announce it to the chat and whatever.
Then add your refunds afterwards or whatever. Yeah. But you can't really
buy that mechanic. I don't think I think if Aklo is like, oh, I can't do this, then he just won't do it. You know what I mean? So, but I think that it could be constant, and I would just be aware of that as someone who's an outsider looking in, haven't played in this campaign, has watched randomly.
Then this is a meta mechanic that already has its rules. Leave it alone. Cool. Let's go back to defining those rules for Will. Will, I like what we discussed. I think I just need to type those up to solidify what they are. Okay, so let's finish the conversation for yours. To shore up the details for yours. There is the bottom of the list of items included. Did I give you the link for this, by the way, so you can actually look at the real one rather than what's on stream, or no? Okay, let me grab that for you. I can't remember if I have your email on here. Is it Winter? Hold on. I feel like I do have your email.
That's the old one. I think you got the.
Oh, I have it right. Yep, I have it right here.
Yeah.
Yep. I know I've emailed with you back and forth before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like, I was like, I know I got it. All right, I just sent you an email to invite, and let's get Foxy up in here. Wait, is it says it was 0? Okay, that's right. I was like, DO didn't pull it up. It's because she's 0. That's right, Doxy. On my list, you're not number 1. You're number 0. You come before everybody else. So what was I say? If you're looking at that sheet, there's the meta mechanic underneath that says, for doxies, it was if the request was illegal, danger stack increased by 5. DCs of 20 or higher always require additional service to the. It says house there, but because for doxy it does apply to house. For you, it'd be to the military. There's a second mechanic for her. If the favor involves a diamond, ruby, or moissanite, increase the DC by 5. Favors, including moissanite, always require additional service. I imagine for you, it would be if the favor includes a Venator or a what are they called?
Gish.
A Gish. Increase the favor by 5. Favors involving Gish always require a return of favor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is where we can add that little like fucking Gish. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just do me a solid, can you?
No.
Can't just fucking do me a solid.
Yeah.
Like, don't you remember I was the one that saved your grandma fine, whatever. What do you need? What do you need me to do?
Yeah.
Deliver a package for you?
Yeah. No, knowing them, it's gonna be, something actually horrid. Assholes. They probably can't kill a fucking magical beast out in the wilderness. Like idiots.
Yep. So do you feel like those rules alone are good? Okay. And then
I think
there's
that pretty much.
and
Like,
there's
the only thing I would suggest is that it doesn't address military officers.
okay. No, I would disagree. I would just say that the DC's higher for military officers. So more or less, if you're saying, hey, Scott, I want a bunch of soldiers.
That's a situational thing, basically.
Yeah.
Fine. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, exactly. All right, cool. So I think we have this pretty solid down, pretty hard. All right, so Doxy, I'm going to come back to you because he simps for you. So can I get some Laszlo's in chat, please? Everybody, some Laszlo's in chat. Just spam it with Laszlo. Since he simps pretty hard for you, I'm gonna hope that you pay attention to his character at least a little bit. I mean, he's a little guy. There's not much to pay attention to unless you're looking at the belly. So could you, what do you think would be a really good, because I honestly have been struggling with this one for like the past 2 months or so. I've been thinking about adding this mechanic. What organization would be a good one for Laszlo to be a part of? Because
The colleges.
the colleges of
Whatever universities exist in this world, he should have, like, people should see him and be like, oh my god, I bet he has all kinds of knowledge that we could extract from him if we're willing to give him some.
Okay. Where I was going to go with this, and then we're immediately going to go back to what you're suggesting, because that sounds good. I kind of was setting this up because I had this idea. And I was setting this up, and you probably noticed it these past 2 sessions, where other nobles seem to know who he is, because he spent a decade living inside the castle. He literally grew up, the queen literally grew up looking at him. He could have been an uncle-like figure if he wasn't going through his own shit, and so couldn't be charismatic and nice and whatever back then. So I almost like the idea of his spot being not the Amaltese military, but literally the Amaltese nobility. The problem is he doesn't feel like somebody that would rub elbows with them. That's the reason why I was like, I'll set this up because I really want Doxy's opinion on it. But because Doxy, Chris Ellen's responsibility is to rub something with the nobility and get them going, right?
Rub somebody with nobility? What?
That's not the exact words that I said, but close enough. So I mean, the colleges thing totally could work. Especially if you're looking at the
Your
Arceum
water
family.
bottle is green screened, and that is so cool, and I love it. Okay, sorry.
What's green screen? I'm sorry.
Will, your brother Will's?
Yeah.
Green screen.
My water
I mean,
bottle.
water bottle is green screen. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Just the bottle. Yeah, it's actually blue. Blue screen.
That's fantastic. I love that.
It adds just enough.
So I was hoping to see. I was hoping to see Josh's opinion of this. But he's really slow.
Now, if what Doxy is saying, like colleges and
Yeah,
like
going with what Doxy said.
learning, you could base it on something like the Mark of Shadows with information.
See, a big thing. This Malta doesn't have colleges quite the same way that the AC does, but it
Right.
does still have ways that teachings are done and so on and so forth.
Libraries
Okay,
and so forth. Yeah.
of course, yeah. But the way magic works, I don't know if you read the Magic of Eroth PDF that I put out there, Will, but there is like a difference between magics here versus AC. But the concept still applies, just maybe slightly different than that. So I'm sorry, you were suggesting, let me look at the Mark of Shadows, house,
Because Mark of Shadows deals in
Karate.
secrets and plots and just information. So I feel like it might be easier altered to fit. You know?
it doesn't feel like that's Thorani. Let me look at Promise Farland's like the murder house.
Yeah, Farland's like, oh, you want someone assassinated? We
Yeah.
can do that. That's not.
Then there's Civis, which is like this talk to each other, the messages house.
Yep, that might work. But that's more like getting information out there, not retaining information. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's the?
That's why I figured if you altered Mark of Shadows, it might be a little bit in there, but you'd have to alter it. It wouldn't be just like. I feel like Deneath fits perfectly for any type of military rank. Like,
Yeah.
it literally just translates. You know what I mean? Whereas this, it would need some altering, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a single house here that tickles my fanny. And you were saying something, Will?
Yeah. What's the crafting house?
It is House Karnath, and there's actually different benefits depending on which house Kenneth you're a part of.
Oh, good. All right, so that's just a mess. Because I was gonna say like he's literally a magical crafter. Laszlo is literally a magical crafter. It's not like that. He's a researcher and a crafter of things, right? I don't know. I mean, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, that seems like more his people than. I don't know.
I don't know.
Information.
See, the thing is, I'm looking at the crafting house just to go based up. One of the things that all these houses offer is something pertaining to the dragon mark, ignoring those and replacing with other stuff. Then there's like, stuff about fabricating, but it doesn't really feel like a Malta. Then if you're looking at Kenneth South, it pertains to literally getting to and from Zendrick, Warforged, and Wands. Yep, makes sense. Kenneth West. Okay, you can hang out with the 12, which is, again, crafting, on Dare and Thrain. And then Kenneth East, you can hang out with more or less your people, Wreck-It Mark Academy, the soldiers, you know? So,
that,
and
just none of
zombies.
that really fits.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
We have to go really outside of the box for this one. So I'm going to go back to Doxy because she came up with the idea of going with like the not trying to draw from Eberron specific stuff, which again is just a huge, I don't mean to copy and paste their shit. It's just a huge influencer. I love Eberron, so I want to give them all the due
Some of
respect
it
or whatever.
does translate very well to the world, so it makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
why try to fix something that's not broken?
Exactly. And if I had to choose a country that Malta really feels like, I'd actually even say it feels more like Breland, which is
I agree. I actually
Yeah.
agree with it completely. It's a lot like Breland compared to anywhere else in Eberron.
whereas Paradel would be more like Karnath and
Karnath,
yeah,
yep.
so on and so forth.
Paradel
But
definitely-
those weren't even my inspirations. Those weren't even my inspirations at all. For my inspirations for from Eberron are more God-related stuff
Yep.
than that kind of than nations. But moving on, Doxy, back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Magic in Malta has been fairly vaguely defined, but as you know, it's something that you're kind of born with, and you train up, right? What do you mean by favor with the different like colleges or whatever? Because they do exist. Please.
Particularly in Amulta, since magic is different in Amulta than it is from everywhere else. I think that it would be great if he could have access to their resources of whatever kind. Like, we need manpower for a thing. Here's a bunch of students that need to learn. We need information and history about such and such landmark, and they're like, here's the library, or here's an expert on that. I don't know, that just seems like something like they would recognize what he is and that they could learn a lot from him if they're willing to do a give and take.
I think I want to take your idea and my idea and have a baby.
It worked really well for the jewels. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think we could do exactly what we were both talking about, but literally limit it to his relationship with the RCM family specifically. You guys have already made a fine relationship with a cousin that, and he's already started a relationship with you know, the female, the lady, whatever her name is, Lainey. I think it's Lainey RCM. And the two of them are very, like, they don't even really talk to one another, if I remember correctly. It's, don't have my notes open. So I think maybe Laszlo, I know it sounds really weird as like a affiliation, but the affiliation with the RCM family, the #1 magic family inside that the country. And Josh, again, please feel free to share your opinion on this. With the RCM family, that's access to things like libraries, access to things like different types of magic. It's literally somebody that can also get him ear with the queen. You know what I mean? Because technically speaking, Laszlo can ask the queen for her ear, but she has no reason to directly trust him, you know? As was discussed in the post of our last session, the queen seemed to be just as formal with him in privacy as she was with him in public. And it was commented, I think, in either Discord or on the Erothian, the unofficial Erothian spoilers cast, that it seemed a little weird that you'd expect almost like the fact that she asked for an audience for her to be a little bit more like, with him, but yet she's still not, right? She's turning to him because she has a reason to think that it's there, but she's still not like, hey, buddy, because why would she be that way? But with the RCM family, that totally could happen. And technically the party for in-game stuff, not meta mechanics, could be that way with the queen eventually too.
When Laszlo walks in, it's business as usual. When the RCM family walks in, she's just like, oh, thank God, loosen my corset.
Yeah, yes, exactly, yes.
I think that idea is really good in that it also lends itself to being, like you said, while being noble isn't charismatic, doesn't know how to schmooze or can't schmooze or chooses not to schmooze, like that can be like, oh, I need information on this. My cousin that I have a good relationship is the type of person that can do that. Can you go schmooze this person and get that information from them so I don't have to? Like, it could totally be like, you can work literally any type of information, whether it be about crafting or whether it be about something else, through the family. Like, oh, hey, I need to find out this information. How would you go about getting it? Because he has that resource of a family that can do it. I think that, no, I just think that works.
It also allows for you guys to use combined meta mechanics and duality with one another. If you're calling up a favor deep into the military at the same time that Josh is talking to the RCM family, or if you're talking to a couple of spies about information they can gather and they're working closely with one of the house members and so on and so forth, that can have this like duality of like calling in multiple favors at a time for a bonus. I'm going to get to that in a second. Snaga, going back up a few posts, also suggested, I think Josh's organization should be more broad outside the bounds of Amalta, like Grisellin's Jewels, and not limited to just Amalta. I changed this phrasing slightly, but the idea being, well, yeah, it makes sense that Oscar is 100% fucking locked in. Makes sense. It makes sense that Crystalline is completely on the outside. But why would Laszlo be on the outside? He has no ties outside of Amalta except for to the Arcane Congress and to what the hell is the name of the country that the gnomes come from? Eustace. And to Eustace. But he's public enemy number 1, or maybe 3. He's a little guy. Over there. You know, why would he have friends there? The Sill don't exactly want to give him hugs. Tazy and Dale saw the frightening power of what he can do if they know his name. Ascaria is allied with the Arcane Congress, so they certainly aren't going to be friends with him. Galdaria probably never heard of him. Paradel directly opposes the nation that he sits inside of. And he didn't exactly make friends when he was in Yovance, aside from somebody who's kind of an infiltrator there herself. So I mean, where outside of Amalta, Joey or anybody else, including Cast here, do you think...
I was going to jump in and say, I think Josh should speak for himself. He said he has his internet back, so you might be able to get him in the call so he can actually respond properly.
He has the link. He's welcome to hop on if he would like. I will figure out things in a bit. We're going to end up ending in like 45 minutes or so anyways. So pulling him in to talk about the third and final one of these is a good idea. You know what I mean? So
if he comes across a nomadic druidic group that doesn't like the Arcane Congress, I don't think they would be opposed to.
But he also wouldn't. But he also wouldn't have an affiliation with them.
No, you're right. He wouldn't. It would literally just have to be a conversation with Nathan. It wouldn't be an affiliation. So you're right.
Yeah. If I had a choice, I would want Laszlo to be connected to a nationless magical researcher community, something that's not only a Maltese driven. But the problem is, who would he be connected to? See, the idea is like all of the characters, their organizations that they're a part of, it's based off of their backgrounds that existed prior to the start of the campaign, whether it be prior to session 1. And it is reinforced by what we have inside of session 1. Give me 1 second. I can go this way.
Our boy is home.
Hi, Josh.
Hi, Josh.
Josh is mute, I suppose.
Josh is mute.
He's probably just trying to figure it out because he's on a...
I can't hear you, Josh. Joshua.
Hi. Aha.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, Will, have you and Josh met in person yet or no?
No.
Oh, man.
No.
You're gonna have to do that soon.
He was walking by and just stepped right over me. And I was like,
Probably did. Actually, I've ridden my bike by like wherever you live, probably like 20 times. I might have seen you. I thought that a woman who was pushing a stroller with a cat in it was actually you at one point. So
my outfit. Oh, did you like it? Oh.
So she was like a solid like 60 yards away, and I was like, oh, that actually looks kind of like that might be Josh like with a child. Okay. And as I got closer and closer, I was like, oh, not Josh with a child. That's a weird lady with a cat. Keep going.
I actually am not over there anymore because yay, moving.
It'd be funny if you walked up to her and said something that was very like in game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm not walking up to anyone during this COVID time. I am passerby.
But you know what I mean? Like something that's very like some sort of joke that Josh would get, but somebody else would be like, what?
I would probably
made me laugh. Yeah, that's okay. Being offended is good for you for every once in a while. I'm not one of those people that think that you're not allowed to be offended. I think people get offended and you have to deal with it.
Yeah, no, but that's life.
There's different calibers of offense. You know,
I agree.
There's some offenses which shouldn't be done. You know, like racism, and there's some offenses where it's like, yeah, get the fuck over yourself. You know.
All right. So back to the topic. I was thinking of like the science community, like the early science community in like the 90s. Instead of like actual governments,
like the World Fair sort of stuff like they used to do in the Chicago.
Yeah, like where it's just a loose connection of scientists or researchers and magical researchers and stuff, and less organizations.
You want to be Howard Stark?
No. Wait, is Howard's? No.
That's Tony's father.
Oh,
doing a lot
okay.
of
No.
shady shit with intergovernmental agencies doing
my
science.
mind
It
went to
sounds like you want to be
Tesla.
Howard Stark. Okay,
Oh.
yes.
Not.
that's
I was
better.
like, what?
You, to be fair, Laszlo is more of a Nikola Tesla than an Edison.
Yeah,
for
he's
sure.
an extreme. Yeah, he's eccentric.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lundane's suggestion, more of an underground thing.
Yeah.
I'm taking the exact words, but not the exact meaning that they were going for.
But yeah.
That underground thing. I get you. I get you.
I want to
That's
go
when-
there
that's when
so
my-
bad.
my-
I want to
character
go there
comes
so
into play.
bad too. Well, if you are going to play a mushroom person, I'll be really happy about that. I just want you.
Honestly, a mushroom person rogue just seems to fit perfectly.
Did you?
So,
Oh God,
Yeah.
I've seen a mushroom person rogue. He liked to punch people in the nuts. It was
That
like-
was
I
a
like-
monk. He was a monk.
Oh, that's right. He was a monk.
I was gonna make the rogue, but you didn't make the stats for the stupid mushroom
I'm
people.
just gonna
for
have to get the
5e.
voice changer so I can sound like DJ Myson.
Well, races don't exist in this series, in this rule system. Really, it's barely a thing. So
Yeah, but
Mhm.
RP exists. In,
no. I'm saying so. So
That's-
you
that's
could play
kind
a
of his
mushroom
point.
in this world, no problem.
Yeah.
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 So
for sure.
have you seen one of the mushrooms get RP'd enough to pull that you think you could pull it off,
It's kind
Or-
of hard.
or should
to
we
be
chat
fair.
about it?
I think I could pull it off.
Because they're a little weird.
We gotta
Yeah,
smell your
so
farts.
much.
We do have to smell your farts to talk with
We
you.
have to smell your
It's not
farts.
smelling my
It's your
farts. I
dandruff,
release
okay?
Spores.
Okay,
Yeah.
Guys
it's
accept
either
the spores.
it's either farts or semen. You pick
It's
man.
one of the two.
It's-
I mean, if I get to pick, I think you know what it is. If we're being real here.
Oh my
You guys get to
goodness,
pick. I
oh
think I
my
know what it is.
goodness.
I'm so
Very
hungry.
uncomfortable.
Oh, why
with
am
the
I
energy we've created in this.
I mean,
studio.
spores are
Yeah.
spores. You know, they're meant for reproduction.
So what you're saying is you come on everyone.
I'm saying as long as they accept it, yes.
Oh God, it's so gross.
At least it's consensual. To be
And-
fair.
And you have
Consensual,
to,
damn it.
if you want a solid connection too, you have to breathe deep. You have to like,
Yeah, breathe
you, can't,
deep.
you can't just
I
like, you can't just like
fail.
deal
Like
with
in
it. You have to
real
like,
Huh.
yeah, you
Just
have to
like
like
in
lean
real life.
into it. It's
Listen,
so
Nathan
gross.
embraced it, okay? Nathan embraced
That's not,
I think
that's not where
Chris
my
Allen
mind
was
was.
the only. Chris Allen was the one that passed. The rest of us failed breathing deep.
Yeah.
We couldn't take it down. It was just. That's it.
You're
Anyways.
regular at huffing semen, apparently.
It's because that is not where my mind was when I created this race and went this route. That is not where my
Here we
mind
are.
was. Yeah,
Here
yeah,
we-
here we are.
Back to the topic. I think an underground network of like a science community, but it being a magic community / crafting community, it doesn't not make sense. You know what I mean?
I see where
funny-
Scott's coming from. It can't just happen, right? This we haven't done anything to do that, and Laszlo for 10 years has been pretty much imprisoned in the palace. He hasn't really had access to do
Yeah.
anything.
Here's the thing that I think about that, and I just
Don't
wanna
forget
throw
you're
this
starting
out
at
there.
0. Go ahead, Will.
Lady Arceum is literally taking other aspects from different magical communities to create her
Mhm.
school. She's pulling those from somewhere. Where's she getting access to all that? Who
She
knows?
could be the
Maybe
link,
she-
and I
she
think
could be the
Yep.
link to that underground community. I don't think that that's a stretch. And you coming in at 0, literally having just been like, "Hey, research this thing for me, please, and I'll also do lesson plans for you," is literally just an exchange of favors.
Yeah, and that's
And-
what a science community would do. Hey, we'll perform these extra tests.
Snaga
to
said
verify.
exactly these things. He literally said it would start off with a Malta, but as they travel and make connections, it can expand. I mean, it is totally possible. I mean, it's not. It's very. We all know that I'm building this world as we go because I'm trying to make it a living, breathing thing, right? So the idea of having what's her name, Lady RCM, being a actually secretly part of this other organization she's diehard for a Malta and she's part of this organization for a Malta, but the fact that she's part of another organization, it could easily be a tie-in for, let's work together. And the cool thing is, introducing that other organization could be good news for certain other campaigns and groups of parties and whatnot that don't like the RAC. So the introduction of such a thing could be.
But
good.
seafaring, but
It's
Anyways,
it's a real potential for a Port of Owls
Josh,
situation.
the two of them were begging me to find out who's in this this new cast. Doxy's even messaging me on the side. Are you gonna beg me as well, or are you gonna have a little bit more? Like she was literally,
You really?
she's literally in Discord. Like Like,
I've been good about it. I haven't.
Guys,
All I've done is
I'll-
message you an image of a Furby.
You won't tell
I
me.
mean, she even sent like a very provocative picture to. Oh, never mind. That's WAP. Sorry, never mind.
Oh,
It's different.
no.
Sorry.
Don't
Different
worry,
language.
Doxy, I'll leak it to you. Don't worry.
Oh.
But
You
yeah,
with
I mean,
your
'cause-
spores.
Nope.
It took me a hot second to realize what you were doing, but
same.
here we are. Oh my god.
Toss on the floor, guys. Toss on the floor.
Oh, Jesus. Oh God.
Oh man. So Will's character should be like called like Pecker or something. Like, he was-
No.
I don't like Pecker.
I just love the idea of when you guys meet his character. The two of you are just like, ugh. And Doxy like leans off camera for a second and then comes back having taken a huge hit off her vape pen. She's just like,
My character's name is actually going to be Splooge. Thank you very much.
oh, come on. It even kind of sounds like a
I know.
mushroom
It almost
name.
kind of fits, right? Splooge the Mushroom Man.
All right.
so
All right.
gross.
Well,
That
I'm gonna
race
get
is
out of
so
here
gross.
then. I'll see y'all later.
Oh man, that.
Oh, God.
Uh,
I gotta talk
um,
to Splooge. I gotta get his opinion on something. Like,
Where are you gonna find him? The outhouse. Oh, he has to use the restroom. No, it's his room. He's underneath it.
He's underneath it.
It's his mess hall, bud.
It's good for growth.
Hey, did you see where Christella went? Yeah, she ran off with Splooge.
Guys, I think the more you say it, the more canon it is.
No,
Like,
no.
The more canon it is.
All we need is Rena to guarantee it's not canon. She has a magic power. She has
All right, I'll
the
message
power
Rena
to
right now.
veto any canon. So
All right, we'll see. Ready?
that's at least according to Vance, but he's not here, so his opinion doesn't matter.
It was just
Um,
according to you because you're the one who said it.
I did not say she had that power. I just didn't
You
challenge
literally
when she.
did.
No. Oh, fuck, he is here. He's just probably listening at work and
Hi,
being
Vance.
a good employee. God damn it.
I've been here the entire time.
God damn it.
This is very good. This is a very good response.
Oh, God. He probably just popped in right now, just in time to.
Maybe that would be your luck today.
Yeah, I know. All right. Or at least Josh's luck. All right, back to the thing for you, Josh. By the way, did you see the camera's not freezing on me? Did you notice that?
Yeah.
It's much
totally.
crisper.
Totally.
my
I
friend.
saw that. Like
It's much crisper.
Yeah. So it's because I talked to Pat and he's like, yeah, why? And you. Like, why are you doing that? No, do that. No, just do that. And then do that. Cool. Why do you have to make this complicated? And I was like, oh, okay. And look, it's better. So anyways, moving on. All
Did
right.
you move it to the back? Did you move it to the back? You did. I knew it. I told you. All right, man.
So I wanted to go in the back and I couldn't say no.
I can't give advice. Look in the chat later. You'll see my internet speeds. They were crazy.
Which chat? Oh,
well,
Jesus.
Yeah.
Why is your upload 200 times? What's the math on that?
A lot more.
I
A
don't
lot
know.
more.
I don't know. It's stupid. I don't know.
Like your upload speed was so much higher than your download speed.
Yep.
It was 67 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Wait,
rough.
you
So I
sure
could
60
send. I
no,
could send
no,
messages like
That's
crazy.
not 67. 22.7. You have to go 3 times just to get to 1, and then you got to go 22 beyond that.
Correct.
Oh no, never mind. Yep, no, you're right.
60.
So yeah, that
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you're correct.
20. Yeah.
Good job. I'm glad that we got there.
Oh, I was like,
Guys, school wasn't Scott's strong point, if we're being
Maybe-
fully honest here.
I got kept back in 2nd grade. You know, I skipped a lot.
Can you get Britt to double check the numbers of these charts for us? Just in case. Just in case. I trust you, but
Yeah.
another set
You
of
think,
eyes.
you think Britt's good at math?
Yeah, no, just I mean,
Oh.
let me.
I'm
look
the
at
one that
everything
does the
for it.
math.
Yeah,
And that
it's not
is
a math
the
family. Let's be
survey.
fully honest.
Let's
Oh
be
wait, isn't
honest.
isn't Eric an accountant? or
Eric
something
is
like that?
Eric
No,
is
You
yeah,
think
Eric-
Aaron is
Eric
good
is-
at math?
Eric is
I
actually
hope so.
Aaron sits next to him. They work from home. He goes, I have math things, Erin. And she
Okay.
goes, here are the math answers. And he goes, cool, thanks.
Just you know what? Just send all
He's better
math.
than you.
Go ahead.
He's better than you are at math. So
Yes.
no, that's not a high bar. I'm not saying it's a high bar.
I don't know. I would,
Sixth
I would,
grade.
I would,
You know
You
what?
know.
Send all math to Rory. Rory can probably do it better.
That's honestly fair. Yeah.
There's 5 sheep, and if you
If there's 5
Okay.
sheep and I'm the black sheep in the future.
well, Josh knows we were teaching Rory addition with, 3d6.
it was fun though. The
Yeah.
story dice were cool too. I like those.
Dude, I cannot wait to do my first story day stream. I'm not even joking. I also really want to I'm thinking about getting a sorry, this is a tangent. I'm sorry everybody. We got to get back to this thing so we can finish up soon cuz Doxy's got to peace out soon cuz she got a thing in the morning. But I'm really thinking about getting a camera thing that allows me not to just like put my camera better than how it is right now, but I can actually swivel it around and have it come down from behind, like a view down from behind. So I can try to do streams or recordings, because that's the one I did before, with me and Rory reading storybooks together. But I don't like the idea of her face being on cam. So like her sitting with me and it's coming from behind, so her face isn't there, but you can see the book that we're reading or reading stories. I thought that'd be really cute and fun. But that's I'm not, yeah. And then the story dice is a thing too. But that's I just like the idea of
Josh,
doing
do
it.
you have a fake mustache because you can't grow a real one? Or
That is exactly the
You
case.
you don't have to point out every imperfection that people
I don't have to. It's just fun to.
Scott's ego.
On the big screen.
Love it.
You notice it can't even contain me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Can't even continue.
All
All right.
Takes Ritalin to contain you.
Ritalin doesn't do the job. All right.
No, I think actually, I didn't think Lady Arceum, but that is a great point. If anyone's going to be connected outside of a multi, it would probably be her and her family. So that's actually a really good point. And a lot of people are throwing out names from the Kingmaker game that would also be very interested in that type of community, like Elliot and Malik.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yes,
actually
man,
thought you roll a 30.
Malik is somebody that you could easily retcon as having always been a part of that community, because he's literally there just trying to study his whole purpose as a character is to study mole architecture, artifacts, and magic. That's literally his backstory. So that kind of makes sense, I almost wonder if this evil, group of magic people could be something that actually started in Adir. Like they're the ones that reach out. Because I'm thinking, sorry,
It's the
Doxy
safest
and Will.
spot.
Yeah. Sorry, Doxy and Will, because you guys don't really watch much of that. But in that game, they actually are literally sending one of their advisors, Arthur, over to Amulta to talk about certain things. So, it is possible that a connection like that can be made.
No. None of those abominations.
Yeah, no, not you, Joey. Not your kind. Oh, sorry.
I actually was planning on doing something tonight that was gonna kind of be related to this, so that'd be cool.
Oh,
But,
were you?
Yeah. I was gonna piss Chrisellen off.
Oh, really?
We'll see.
Spoilers? Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I pissed Chris Ellen off last time.
We'd have to take turns.
Okay, fair enough.
It's the only way for her to like us is for her
Can't
to
wait for
kind of
Steve
hate
to
us.
piss her off too.
Wow.
Chris, do you also go by the motto, it's better to be pissed off than pissed on?
Awkward silence.
Chris is in Chris Ellen because she does not respond to Chris.
Oh, that's a power move right there.
Good. It's a good answer to that horrible, horrible fucking question.
Okay. Moving on. I'm stung a little. All
I
right,
mean,
so,
deservedly so, honestly.
so going back to what we were talking about with Doxy and with Doxy's original idea, my original idea, and the idea of this other kind of organization, I easily can tell what it is I'm going to put together for his, inspired, like I said, by House Beneath, and with those additional political twists we were talking about because it's a whole military. I actually think there might be favors or whatever it is you could pull from, again, looking at other Eberron stuff, from the Royal Eyes of Ondare and the, I can't remember, Will, do you remember the name of the, are they called the Wands? The secret organization for Breland? Are they called the Wands?
I don't know. That would
there's
be
a-
an
there's a
Aaron
name.
question.
Yeah, whatever they're called. So anyways, we could pull from that for Will, and that makes sense. But now this is chat, Doxy, Will Graham, everybody. What kind of tiered stuff would be available for Fluffernutter over here for this organization? I mean, access to a spell that's written? Okay, cool. But like, what else would be available?
I would think forbidden text, things that wouldn't normally be available in that region, the region.
Or things that specifically are something that the Arcane Congress would be against.
Mhm.
High level magic? Mixing of
Yeah.
schools?
Yeah, exactly. They, like,
Mole,
stuff like that.
mole knowledge.
Whole knowledge could be a really interesting one.
You know, like there are, you know, really other campaigns that have run into pillars that have very high levels of details on them that people aren't really studying for some reason.
Because I left, okay? That's why they're not studying them. Because I left, damn it.
Scott, I think you were thinking of either the Dark Lanterns or the Shadows for Breland.
Dark fucking lanterns. Nailed it. Thank you for Googling.
Yeah, no problem.
Dark lanterns. I was like, the wands?
No, the
The
ones
wands?
of mages.
Yeah.
Yeah, magical support.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't remember.
Yeah, Dark
Wait.
Lanterns are the intelligence, and then Shadows are like the spies, basically.
Yeah.
That work with the Dark Lanterns based on what it looks like there. So
Thank you
Yeah.
again.
I think it really does have to be like forbidden knowledge type situation stuff.
Artifacts.
Artifacts is a good one too, especially if you want to craft things. Maybe even like, oh, I don't know how to necessarily craft that. Like how can I find out how to craft it? Just information is really the key thing.
do you remember when we were talking about the metal that
Aurorum?
the
Mhm.
metal Aurorum that deals with that kind of knowledge of like, okay, where can you actually get this, and how would you actually deal with crafting it as well, stuff like that, because that's a magical piece of material as well. So
Yeah, getting materials for crafting can definitely be difficult. So something like that, like whether it's, oh, here's where you get it, or here it is, depending on what you're asking for, that can totally be a thing.
Yeah. And I don't think it steps on anyone's toes.
No.
And
no,
I
no,
also
Yeah,
I also think that it can be empowered by either of them, right? If I'm asking from Taziendale, then Chrysalin can really lean into hers. And if I'm asking from like I forget the G one, the one that's just north of Amulta, that nation, then that they're more military sound. Yeah. So Oscar can lean on his expertise of like talking to people and getting access to certain things.
Yep.
So I think it kind of complements the two in a small way.
I just sent a link to House Civis's thing. It, again, isn't perfect, and always ignore the first part where it talks about the mark of blah. But it's in Discord. Oh, Will, I have to send it to you separately.
Yep.
But that'll show kind of like not exactly what you're talking about, but it does give access to like bonus on knowledge checks, bardic knowledge, and lore checks. Also alone, you know what I mean? Has access to scrolls, talking to certain contacts through the organization, sending messages to each other, things like that. This is kind of what you're saying. Obviously, these modifiers are grotesquely high and not at all what we'd be applying here, right? But it would give you access to stuff. So
yeah. I also like the idea of doing this because it can tie together non-arcane Congress magic users, divine magic users, people who are innate, people that are like the Sill who are elemental based and whatnot. and the different types, because you even dropped that book, the PDF not too long ago, and talking about the the Arcane Congress is very big, but it's only one factor of the different the spectrum of magic.
Correct.
So it kind of creates a connection that the Arcane Congress has probably been trying its hardest to destroy, trying to keep these people separated because they want their rules in place.
And that's why they're underground, because of the Arcane Congress. This would be like, oh, there would be multiple libraries available for people if there weren't the Arcane Congress, but because of the Arcane Congress's just existence, they have to be underground, and that's the way the information is transferred because of that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, I like the idea of this. I like the idea of kind of like this marriage between what Doxy said and what I said, and then kind of like running to the side and away from a Malta with it to do this other thing. I do think RCM is a perfect introduction of this other thing, because she does not come off as like, I'm only a Maltese magic. She does come off as being this other approach.
Yeah.
And I had that intention of going that way with her, but I didn't have the intention of there being an organization behind it. I had the intention of her being that way, right? So that kind of just adds another depth or layer or whatever into the world, which is cool.
Is this the White Lotus?
Ah,
Yes, it is. It is a little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
they're
Maybe
they're a little disappointing as an organization. You know what I mean?
Are they?
They got some powerful people, dude.
Why are they?
I mean,
Valerie.
you only see them as like a cliff note, and then like one combat in Avatar: Last Airbender, and then they're just like a bunch of annoyed old people in like the first 2 episodes of Korra, and
I mean, they're super important in Korra.
maybe after season 1.
I mean,
But I'll never watch after season 1, because season 1 was a great fucking series, but unfortunately ended with no consequences. Like, innocent people died, and there were 0 consequences for the actions that transpired in that thing. And I was like, okay, cool. So nobody actually lost their binding forever. Spoiler alert. Forever, and like that.
I will say, without trying to give away too much, Korra pays a lot in that series. There's a lot of consequences for her actions.
I thought that series, that whole season, was sexy. I thought it was great. I thought it was dark. It was gritty. It had like a different view on the world. It felt very Industrial Revolution. The secret Nazi-like society that existed there was awesome. Probably my favorite character is the non-binding girlfriend girl. Like, she's an awesome character that has like one of the saddest stories in all of the Avatar series so far. Probably the saddest story, because she gets the shit into the stick left and right, but is still a good person. Like, I mean, it's a really good story to tell. I don't know how you can go beyond that, because again, I don't know. And then everybody else has told me in Discord, but we don't want to derail it too much.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
No,
Okay,
you can respond, and then.
I'm just gonna say, there are letdowns. It's not consistently good like Avatar: The Last Airbender is. Except for that 3rd season. The 3rd book is pretty hard. Or at least the first part. But it's a big roller coaster ride of like awesomeness, and then like, oh, okay, this did not really land well, and then awesomeness again, and then it didn't land. So I wouldn't recommend people to watch it, as I've said in Discord, but there is a point to watching it.
Yeah.
Okay, really quickly. Sorry. Scott, one thing that one of these things should offer, in my opinion, is a no questions asked place to lay low from everyone. If anybody comes looking for us, we have.
That's never. I mean, if you say no questions asked, depending on the scenario, that could be a 20 or a 25.
Well, maybe not no questions asked. Sure, they can ask what it's about, but they will let us hide from anyone there as long as we pass and like have.
I feel like that fits with different ones depending on where we are.
Yeah,
like,
and what you do,
depends on where you are.
because that's already like DC 10 for your house. Doxy already says use of Jules' facility for a night's free lodging for 4 characters. Cool.
Right, but if somebody comes to the door and is just like, we're looking for Crescellin, we're officials, blah blah blah, then they could be like, sure, right this way.
Then what I say is, if you look at subscript number 1, if a request involves illegal or dangerous act, increase the DC by 5. So now it just became a 15. So, I think it's actually already built in there for you. But again, with the DM discretion thing, sometimes that could be even easier. You know what I mean? Or sometimes that could be even harder. So I think that that's already built in there because these are meant to be super simple things. So yeah, that's I like it.
Just like a safe house mechanic would be really nice.
I think a safe house mechanic makes sense. I think it is situational. Like if you've done something illegal or you're kind of in the middle of something illegal and you're like, oh, hey, I need a safe place to stay, no questions asked. Yeah, a 15 to 20 might make sense. If you just like in the middle of a city murdered people because of something in front of witnesses, need a safe place to stay, that's a 25 or plus. Like that's very different. It's super situational for that, but I agree that it can work.
Yeah, if you're Arena, it's gonna be a higher check. Just saying.
If you're
If you're Ophios, it's gonna be a higher check.
Now, yeah. His naked ass running all over town. I mean, I want everybody to understand that Ophios is a sex offender. He ran around exposing himself to many innocent people's bystanders. That is by American law, so that you can be tried and potentially found guilty for being a sex offender.
To be fair, he has no rights because he's this alien race.
That's right. He has no rights because he's not a person. That's right. Never mind.
Yeah.
All right, take it back. Take it back. Let's just saying, he
Makes
was
me feel
always in
bad
snake
saying
form.
that. I feel bad. But so these.
So Doxy, yes, you're good. Just so you know that your request is met. Cool. Josh.
So these charts, are they just a baseline, or can we approach and say, hey, I would like to ask for blah, blah, blah specifically, or like a tweak to it, and then you could adapt the chart to that, or are we stuck to like just these options?
You mentioned 3 things. It is the first 2, not the last one. So it is a baseline, which means you can go off of that based off the situation. This isn't the only things that they can do. And if there's something that you feel that needs to be addressed because it's done consistently and you want to add it to the chart, yes, it can do that. Is the chart set in stone? Nothing is set in stone. Let's play a game and have fun.
I mean, Kithel. Okay.
Ooh.
That was just poor. Poor form, good man. Poor form.
Oh, he's gonna do the voice. He's gonna do the voice. He went over to the modulator.
I saw it.
Ruin his plans. All right.
What did you say to me, you little prick? I will pick you up and snap you like a toothpick.
I will be honest, that sounds like we're in a Hellboy movie.
Yeah. The voice does sound like Hellboy.
I was thinking Spawn. You remember the like the scene in hell with the fire demon?
Yeah.
I fucking love what's his name too, John Leguizamo.
Oh yeah, he's perfect in that movie.
Okay, he's so amazing. Oh,
his stand-up is really good too.
I don't know if I've ever seen.
I just love John Leguizamo.
I saw his stand-up where he taught like the history of the Central America and stuff like that. It was like weird. It was like I realized I was trying to just explain this to my son, and I don't know shit. So I figured I'd learn it, and he did the whole thing with a chalkboard. If you've never, I think it's on Netflix. If you've never seen John Leguizamo's teaching of Central American history and like of the Aztecs and shit like that, it's so good. It's like a one-man show. It's not really stand-up. It's like a one-man show, and it's so good. So, anyways.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah,
so,
but I really like the idea that like we can modify them as we go, because I feel like a lot of these things work right now. Right, but like say for instance we start doing things that are more ballsy and daring, and Chrisella might cross paths with someone that the jewels might not be in her favor as much later. It would kind of suck for her to be limited to just these options, because then okay, well all the DCs are stupidly high now, you know.
I mean, the DCs should never be consistently high or low. Well, actually, DCs will be consistently low if you always ask for small things. DCs will only be consistently high if you always ask for big things, right? But it should never feel like this is working against you. As I've said a million times before, and it has been consistent in the other 2 campaigns, whenever it's a Patreon-related thing, with the exception of one tier, Whenever it's a Patreon related thing, it is always meant to be something that's beneficial. So this is one of the two things that's being released towards you guys, the affiliation that you have, and I'm gonna go build Will's in a little bit because we're ending early, and then Josh's I'll probably ping him back and forth and start building. The other mechanic that's be coming your way is that the certain patrons are making their advisors or contacts or whatever they're meant to be. This is something that stands outside of the favors. So the favors are a mechanic for you to go up to your organization and ask for something. These are supposed to be people that stand outside of the organization, can still be a part of it. Like, let's say, for instance, maybe Joey, who's a part of that tier, maybe he wants to I want to make somebody who happens to be a Gish, but is like a childhood friend of Oscar's. So they always have this like rivalry going on because they both joined around the same time. And maybe he's like a half rank above Oscar and they always bust each other's balls about it or something like that. And so like we work together and we make this concept or whatever it is. And that's somebody that's literally meant to be there where it's like, yeah, dealing with Gish are a pain in the ass. But I get this one guy I can usually turn to if I have like a Gish related thing that I need kind of like a question answered or advice or something done. You know what I mean? And then the two of them have that kind of bromance that, say, somebody in one branch of the military might have with somebody in a different branch where they always like goddamn squab or squib or what do they always call? Squid? Squib? I don't know. There was what do you call seamen?
For Harry Potter?
Squib.
No. Referring to people in the Navy.
Oh.
Oh, I don't know about
I don't know.
I don't know. You don't really talk to them. They stay on their boats and play with themselves.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know anything about the American military complex.
It's
just better. You just need to know it's better, and that's that. And leave it alone.
No. I've worked with the Canadian Air Force, and those guys are awesome. Like, oh, dude, they made moose smoke. Like we went to this, they had this like deployment sort of thing, and their last day they're like, oh, we're gonna make moose smoke, and we're all like, what's that? And it's pretty much you just buy a bunch of alcohol and ice cream, and you pour it all in this giant vat, and you drink
curdled ice cream. Sounds good.
Hey,
it was really good, actually.
Josh, out of curiosity, did you go up to Canada for that, or
No, they came to us. I was part of Noble Eagle. Which is it's an exercise for the Northern Hemisphere to like for missile defense, NATO stuff.
Yep.
And so they were at the base training. So.
Cool. Yeah. Because I don't know if I talked to you about this, but I actually was going to be a pilot in the Air Force. That was a thing. I am too tall. Is because we
fighters aren't built to go big.
Totally. And we train on Harvard 2s, which are tiny as fuck. So if I wanted to fly, I would have lost my kneecaps if I ever had to eject. But Trenton Air Force Base, when I was there, that was there was just a big old, it was a tub, like, I think it was like a 72-liter barrel type thing.
It's stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Like they went to like 5 different alcohol stores because they didn't have enough of the alcohol they needed. It was bad. And just for any British viewers, your guys' military has some stank ass feet. All right. I got stuck in the airport with some of the English army people or whatever they're freaking called, and it smelled like nachos, like pungent nacho cheese.
This is why Only Feet makes Neil so uncomfortable. Onlyfeet.com. Oh man, did somebody clip that, by the way, the other day? Was that clipped in Throwing Clips? Steve must have. Anyways, so or I think Viking did. Maybe Viking did. Anyways, so the only example I can even get close to that curdled ice cream that you guys are talking about drinking. Will, were you ever around when I used to put 1 or 2 scoops? I would go out to eat at Uno's long before I worked for the company, and I would always end my night with a tall Guinness with a scoop of vanilla ice cream put in it.
No, and gross.
I mean, Guinness is already fucking sweeter than candy. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things.
No, it's not.
Oh, Guinness is so sweet.
It tastes like you already drank bitter alcohol and you pissed it out and you served that.
Guinness is so sweet. It's like obnoxiously
sweet.
It's so sweet. Yeah.
It's bitter.
Right,
it's so bitter.
Well, both of you are completely wrong.
It's very sweet. It's not better.
It's literally
3 different opinions.
It's
sweet.
All right. I'm gonna say trust the guy who brews beer.
Yeah, just
it
the guy
is-
who viewed Bruce beer. All right.
It is neither sweet nor bitter. It is literally right in the middle.
Which to me is obnoxiously sweet. So
Just give me
like
a
a random amber is too sweet for me. You know, I'd
Sure.
say.
Guinness tastes like nothing. It is almost water.
Oh, I agree. It's not very flavorful. To be fair, I've only ever had American Guinness. To be fair, to be clear,
I've had both.
I've never had
American
Guinness
is
overseas.
lesser.
So-
American is lesser, but even Irish Guinness, it almost tastes watered down. It
Yeah.
When you want a
It's not
dark
good
beer,
beer.
you're expecting something either roasty or coffee or anything like that.
No, if you
It doesn't
want
have any.
if you want a dark beer, you get Arrogant Bastard Russian Imperial Stout. If you want a dark beer, you go with a good beer, not Guinness.
Yeah, let's get a whole keg of Arrogant Bastard and see how that goes, Scott.
Okay, that wasn't Russian Imperial Stout 1, and 2, know your audience. Nick did not. He had a bunch of bros, a bunch of Bud Light drinking people, and a keg of Arrogant Bastard. I just think it was gonna happen.
No, I don't care if you're an arrogant bastard drinking bastard. A keg is too much.
I agree that a keg is, but if you have a group of people, a keg is not too much. If you have a group of people that won't drink it, a keg is too much.
Poor Will and Doxy are just sitting here and they're like,
guys.
yeah.
Arrogant Bastard's great. I wouldn't have more than 2 glasses of Arrogant Bastard.
And this is why he's not a part of
I
Filmkeeper.
just don't have anything to add to this conversation. I'm sorry.
right. Well, thanks for joining the Beer Boston Bros.
I fucking
We're,
love beer.
Hey, your mockery accent's getting better.
it's not mockery anymore, man.
Living it.
Oh,
Well, I'm a sober boy who doesn't drink, so
I'm
cannot
sorry.
help you. I
It was
cannot
part of
help you in
enlistment.
any of these conversations.
It's part of enlistment. You got
Hazing. It's illegal now, but they still do it. So I think we pretty much wrapped up everything that I really wanted to talk to about this stuff. You know what I mean? Because this is really important world building stuff. I do want to say one more thing, and then we can do our outro and bounce out of here. About the affiliation mechanic, because obviously Doxy and Will have I imagine a question mark on exactly how that works. So I know it exists in a bunch of other books as affiliation mechanics for Greyhawk, for Faerun, for just the generic world stuff inside some of the other books. I just happened to be holding an Eberron book because I was looking through the other one for the other stuff over there. So this one is in reference to the Reckonmark Academy. Reckonmark Academy, for those of you that don't know, is literally the academy that has the best soldiers, the best officers trained out of it, like military leaders and commanders come out of it. So the way that they have this one is they have an affiliation score that tells you where you are. It comes in different groups. Affiliation score 3 or less, 4 to 11, 12 to 19, 20 to 27, and then 28 or more. If you're at 3 or less, it's literally you have no affiliation. You're not a part of this. That's where Josh stands with the group that he's going to be starting with. Affiliation score 4 to 11 is potential member. There's a file on you somewhere in the Reckonmark archives. 12 to 19, you're a member. You receive the Opal Signet Ring and can identify yourself as being a member of the Order. You get a +2 circumstance bonus on attempts to influence the attitude of other Order members. You have access to Reckonmark Academy facilities. You have an honorary rank of Major in the Carnathi Army, unless you have your actual rank is higher. Being affiliation score of 20 to 27, which is the second highest. Member of the Inner Circle. The Order issues you a mage-bred light warhorse, this is super cool, or equivalent steed. You also receive a bodyguard detail, 4 first-level fighters, and a staff officer, a 4th-level NPC of a class of your choice, who handles logistical tasks for you. You gain a +4 to influence members of the Order. You have an honorary rank of Colonel in the Carnathian military, unless your actual rank is higher, and then the highest rank is High Consular. Your retinue now consists of 4 third-level fighter bodyguards and a level 7 staff officer. You can gain audience with the king 1d8 days after you request it. You gain +6 circumstance bonus to influence other members. You have an honorary rank of warlord in the Carnathi army. So this is not something to scoff at or be small or whatever it is. And we're saying Doxy, if you look at how fucking powerful that is, we're saying Doxy and her organization is starting up here at the highest rank. she's starting as hers is going to have more ranks than that, but it's going to start off as flawless, right? So she gets all the way up there and all the benefits from there on down. Just to be clear on that. But I'm going to have her 1 or 2 points away from being the lowest number of that, meaning she can slip and go down it if mistakes are made, because you have to have things built in. You somewhere in the middle and Josh starting at the bottom. This is what I mean by affiliation score and an additional meta mechanic that can benefit the party, because again, they have this huge task set before them, but you want to give them the tools to be able to succeed at this mountainous task. We couldn't do it in season 1 while we were learning the party and where they stand. And now that we've learned them, let's introduce them. Right? Let's introduce these other mechanics so you guys can work with them. And that's, again, a very Patreon-driven thing as it is, because sometimes your organization might give you something extra, so on and so forth, and that comes from them and me talking to them. All right, let's get out of here so Doxy can get some Z's because she has a place to be in the morning. And I have other non-4th campaign-y things to talk about and do. Before we go, Will, you popped in last second to help us out. I'll let you go first. What you been up to lately, brother? How's your recordings going? You haven't posted super recently, but you did post a bunch in a short period of time.
Yep, I posted a bunch of short period of time that I haven't posted because my next video is going to be just like about surgery and like leading up to surgery and surgery itself. And there kept being like random new information to add to it. So I didn't want to put out the video until I had all the information. So next week, I'm actually going to be posting the video. If you guys want to look me up, youtube.com/bytheway, you can find me. It's pretty easy. Where I'm going to be talking all about the surgery that I had on my ankle and what it means for the future of my weight loss journey and all that stuff. Fun fact, you get this little clip right here, right now, nowhere else. I actually lost 7 pounds while I wasn't able to work out or move at all. No idea how I did it. I ate like shit, and I didn't pay attention to any of the food I was eating.
It's called losing muscle mass.
So yes, loss of muscle mass. You don't lose muscle mass 7 pounds in 2 weeks. That's something
that'd be really bad.
Yeah, that'd be very bad.
Dying.
That'd be very bad. So honestly, I don't know exactly what I did other than I had some really bad times where I ate really shittily. Other times where I probably tried to make up for it and ate better. But I continued to lose weight, which I didn't expect. I expect to gain a pound or two during.
No, you probably reset your metabolism. You probably did a big boon, and then it just jumped over. What bodybuilders do it all the time.
Yeah, it for sure could have been that too. It could have just been like, and especially because I was intermittent fasting and then I wasn't. Like, it could be a lot of different things, but that makes sense. We'll see if it keeps on riding. That'd be awesome.
Cool, kudos, and win that fight. Who wants to go next? Fight!
Josh.
Oh, I was gonna say, Chris Allen, if you would like to go. Can
I get some Laszlo's in chat, please? Can I spam chat with Laszlo,
he's not
please?
even a simp. He's just nice.
Laszlo's in chat, please.
Laszlo's a simp.
So so the other day I was walking down the street and some dude rode by me and dropped 7 pounds, and I picked it up. So I got that going on for me.
Well, it's easier for pushing a cat in a carriage, you know?
I'm a funny one. I guess they're called variety streamers. I play video games. I'm right now training myself in the Star Trek Adventures game. I've been running it on the side to learn how to DM it better or GM it better so that I can run it on stream. And I look forward to it because it's very story driven instead of like combat driven. Like, a lot of people don't realize, but D&D is like all combat. Like it's
a combat sim.
Everything outside of combat was just added to fill the gaps.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to show off more different systems that don't rely on that as much.
We're just having this discussion in a chat in Discord where I was more or less, it's like you can't judge somebody's morality based off the way their character plays when they play in a murder simulator that has RP involved. And you can't.
Yep. You really can't.
Yeah. Continue.
And you can't even base it off of, at least Pathfinder has the coup de grace and the knockouts and stuff like that are much more reliable. In 5e, you don't even have a lot of that junk. You just have to keep hitting them until they die. You know? And so so that's my goal as a streamer. I'm gonna start streaming more games. Like, I already done a Call of Cthulhu series. It was very short-lived, but people liked it. And I plan on doing Star Trek Adventures next, and after that, Mutants Masterminds. I want to show off systems that don't get as much love because they're not, as streamlined as D&D. But yep, that's me. Check me out.
I have been the whole time.
Hey.
Will or Docs?
Hi, I'm Zero Doxy. We are completely reimagining my channel to make it more tabletop focused. Josiah's there most of the time. He's a really good DM. You'd really like him. When you're not watching here, please check that out. Also, I have an OnlyFans, so you can see me naked for $15 a month if you want.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Speaking of tabletop, I'm hoping to play the thing that's about to be talked about next by Will on that tabletop with Josh and other Will at some point in time in the near future.
Oh,
so
cool.
Let's make it happen.
Will could babysit and we could play.
Go ahead.
So, making a board game. Doxy's actually helping me with that. So is Josiah. They're both really cool people. You should actually check out their streams. The bits that I've caught were really great. I highly recommend it. But when you're not doing that and you're not watching here, once we release this, you could be playing Schism. It was great. 1v1 tabletop board game. It's a ton of fun. I actually just played a bunch of rounds with a friend yesterday just because he was over and it was fun. So did that for a while, which is good. We're going to be releasing in early 2021. It's going to be launched on Kickstarter again. I actually just put up a new page. So if you do go and follow onto the website there is a new page where you can learn the lore of the Immolation of Oathensfer, which is the first starter set we're going to be releasing. As we announce faction sets and other cool stuff, I'll be posting pages on the website for those as well. Also, there's these really nice pictures of the miniatures just spinning around. Their GIFs. They're great. I sometimes go to the page just to watch it because it's very therapeutic for me.
He's super proud of it, guys.
I'm very proud of it. I made those. So anyways, but yeah, you should totally check it out. If you're interested in the world of Yarviskir, it was made by Ollie Smith over on Ollie Rant. If you're interested in his stuff, you can check that out. He makes really cool world building and stories, and we're adapting the world of Yarviskir for Schism, which is very fun to do. So we're doing that. I'm figuring out all of the business sides right now for getting us up and running for early 2021. That's really the big exciting thing. But if all goes to plan, Scott will actually have a copy earlier than that to potentially show you all how to play potentially. So
Josh, you gonna show me how to play?
I'm gonna kick your ass.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think what we'll have to do is the three of us will have to have a like a I don't know, some sort of way of discovering who is not going to play, and then the person that's not playing has to hold the camera and be cameraman while the two people that won gets it. It would really suck if I lost that and I was camera guy on my own channel and I just have to watch you guys.
No, you don't. I can't be cameraman. You guys are too tall. That's not gonna work.
We're sitting.
All right,
Josh,
we'll get
we're
you in
sitting.
school. We'll get you in school. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
Okay. Whatever.
You sit on the table.
So here's the other thing. The nice thing about it is it's actually very quick games. The games take under 30 minutes to play.
Very quick, under 30 minutes.
Including setup and including learning the game. So the actual game itself will take you 15 minutes to play once you have the hang of it. And if you're setting up, hey, maybe you lost the first round and you got to be cameraman for the first round, it won't take that long for you to get in the seat there. So if you want to do that Robin tournament, you can do it.
Wonder if Addis made it to the list of support characters. No, probably not. No. Ollie hated him. All right.
Sorry.
Like
these are new characters, so these are ones that are not they haven't been explored in any of the games.
So no like half dragon Arvine, no no.
So
okay.
the first character is actually they're on. You can actually read about them on that page that I mentioned. So it's you can read under the minis. Each one of the minis has a little description of each of the characters. There are 3 named characters in this first starter set. Including Vikia Faraway, Nana Vidir, and General Girath. They're all part of this story of the Immolation of Oathensfer, and they are very interesting. I actually highly recommend checking out some of the lore. It was written by Zoe May, who is Ian, actually mentioning Arvine, Ian's fiance. So she does great writing. Ollie does great world
Zoe,
building.
may I say congratulations?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I haven't.
You could have done better,
Ian.
but
Yeah. Well, you know.
No, Ian's amazing. Shut up.
Ian's an absolute delight.
Ian's-
So, I mean, I'm just happy for the two of them. They're both absolutely delightful people. And yeah.
I miss Arvine. Arvine's a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know Zoe from a hole in the wall. I don't even know what they look like, but I miss Arvine. Arvine's fun. And you know what? But best part about Arvine, he knows how to take a punch and just keep on coming. I mean,
He doesn't know how to roll though.
takes a licking and keeps on kicking. You know what I'm saying?
Doesn't
Like,
know how to roll. You're not wrong. Oh, poor
Even when he had the divination wizard that one time, it was you know how you roll like 2 dice a day and you get to save them. They were always so bad.
listen, but you can give those to your enemies.
Yeah, you can.
It
But
was
they
the only
somehow
good thing
always had a
about it.
re-roll mechanic and hit him anyways. Yeah, no, listen, RV knows how to take abuse and still be your friend. I don't know if this is a complimenting thing or not, but you're a good person, RV. So,
Now
awesome.
Neil, on the other hand,
Is a piece of shit.
So, anyways, Scott, what about you?
I'm ready to sign off so Doxy can go to sleep. If you want to know who's in the cast for the new 4th Aurorum game, hold on to your asses because you're not going to find out yet.
I heard it was
Sorry.
Batman. I heard Batman was in it.
No, it's not Batman.
Yeah,
Let's just leave.
Kai,
Put on a voice.
Markiplier,
Oh, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
and
Robert
Nick
Pattinson.
Jonas.
And who?
Nick Jonas.
Nick Jonas.
Oh, there's a Dex bonus. I was like, oh, I'll play with her. She's awesome. I don't know who Nick Jonas is, so.
He's one of the Jonas brothers.
The Jonas
Who are they?
Brothers.
It's actually the cast of the new Jumanji movies. That's who's playing.
Yes, yeah, Jack
Oh,
Black. It's
That
actually
would be
all
pretty
different.
amazing.
It's
I
all
would
different
love to play
characters.
D&D with Jack Black. I would love
That would be pretty
to play.
amazing.
Okay, out of all the cast members in those movies, Jack Black's probably the least exciting.
What?
Mm,
What?
I've met
What?
him in person.
Okay, I'm hanging
He's
up
kind of
now.
a douche.
okay, bye,
Yeah.
bye, Doxy.
What?
Just
No.
say, just
Sorry,
say,
I don't want to hurt
Tenacious
you guys.
D.
He's kind of
Tenacious D, dude.
but,
I'm
okay,
doing
okay.
it. I'm going.
The
Yeah, I'm
Rock,
gonna.
Doxy.
the,
You
Rock,
all
the
have fun
chick from the
talking about this. I'm
MCU
leaving.
movies.
See ya.
You know what I
Bye,
mean?
buddy.
Yeah.
And
Bye,
Doctor Who.
everybody.
The Rock is probably the nicest
Yep.
one. Though.
Sorry. Bye.